Young people from all over the globe are joining up to fight for the future.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
They're doing their part. Are you? Join the mobile infantry and save the world. Service guarantees citizenship.
Good evening, everybody. This is Trev Retro, and welcome along to a very special, and we've been planning on doing this for such a long time, but never actually got round to it. Tonight we will be talking, and you're going to love this, the one, the only, Paul Verhoeven's 1997 classic, Starship Troopers. Joining me tonight is the Military Internet Help Desk. Hello there, sir.
I'm doing my part.
Are you? Would
Hello.
you like to know more?
Please, please.
And also joining us tonight is the one and only. He's a man of iron, and he's got an iron will. The one, the only, Tony Stark. Hello, sir.
It's an ugly planet! A bug planet! A planet filled with... Oh, hi, guys.
Hello. Also joining us, Christ, my ear holes are aching already. Everybody's favourite sailing unit, the one, the only Z3POs. Welcome along, sir.
Good evening, Trevor, and good evening, panel and chat. Wow,
I hope
what a
all your
film.
ports are well oiled, by the way, sir.
They most certainly are, for even the most vicious bug attack.
Nice. Well, let's hope there's not too many bugs biting tonight. We'll also have anti-derivative Jill joining us very shortly. But if you guys want to just have a bit of a reflection, when did you see Starship Troopers for the first time, Z?
First time I watched it was when I purchased it on DVD, and I wish I'd saw it in the cinema. I was absolutely blown away. It's a shame that I was watching it on a 4.3 old cathode ray tube at the time, but I watched it again tonight. Oh my God, it still holds up after all these years. Isn't it great?
It certainly does. What about you, Graham? When was your first experience of this absolute classic?
It was actually just after it came out on video in '97. I was 16 at the time. It was an 18, so I was doing the rebellious thing of watching a movie. To begin with, I didn't think it was very good.
Really?
And it's literally just sort of like, it was just, you know, being explosive and shooty for the sake of just being explosive and shooty. It's only as I've got older and I've got it on the rewatch, I realized the whole satirical nature of it. And it's really gone up in my estimation. Hence the fact I'm here now willing to talk about it, because I do think now it is incredibly clever.
So was it a case of the satire just went over your head at the time?
It did, but I think it did for a lot of people. I don't think many people realized it was supposed to be a play on, you know, the militaristic countries.
Do you think that's a part of its appeal? The fact that nobody got it and people thought it was like a B-movie, essentially. Paul Verhoeven does not make B-movies. And everybody was saying, oh, this is a solid B. It's an absolute stinker. It did quite well at the cinema until the critics got hold of it and more or less scuppered it with their really harsh reviews.
Yeah, absolutely. That is exactly what I would say. It was shouty, it was loud, it was Michael Bay, pre-Michael Bay. And not wrong. But yeah, and it's just as time has gone on and people have actually sat down and watched it, and after things have happened, like a couple of Iraq wars, everyone has gone, oh, that makes a bit more sense now.
Arachnid Wars.
Yeah. Hey, I like that. Nice play on
Very
words.
good. Very
Well
good,
done,
man.
sir. Getting him in early. Tony Stark.
Yes, sir.
Playboy, international CEO, and sperm megalomaniac, because you like dishing it out, sir. When was your first experience of Starship Troopers?
Well, whenever I watched it, we watched it at the theater. I was a teenager. Let's see here. I would have been, because you got to start doing these in decades. Yeah, I think it was like around the same time, 14, 15 years old. And but I was also getting into Warhammer 40K at the time, and I'm a longtime Guard player.
Yeah.
So and this is the reason why I love this film, is the first thing that the first thing that ran through my mind was, oh, this is a movie about the Guard. It's, sending wave after wave of your own men at a superior force to overwhelm them and eventually defeat them, regardless of how many zeros of attrition you're sacrificing, or regardless of how many lives you're sacrificing. But as I was first exposed to it, I watched it in the theater, and then we got it on VHS because VHSs were still around at the time.
Definitely.
It's still one of my personal favorites. For somebody that loves like that over the top, like how could we handle an alien invasion without becoming like a military doctrine planet or series of planets? It definitely had I wanted to know more, so I got the book and started like expanding myself on the lore. It's just unfortunate that the sequels didn't hold up to the same prowess of the original film.
So I've never actually read the book. What's it like? Obviously, they always say the film isn't always as good as the book. So what's your take on that?
It's different. I mean, there's a lot of things in the book that obviously didn't make it into the movie. One of the things that I thought was really funny was as they had cyber dogs, and the cyber dogs talked. Like it was kind of like Rex from Fallout, but with like a hybrid of Rex and K9 from Doctor.
Yeah.
And the dogs, whenever they first encountered the bugs, just got scared to death. That's how they died. They were terrified.
And the book came out in 1959. It was originally a novel by Robert A. Heinlein, if I remember right. A few facts about the movie. Starship Troopers, obviously, is a 1997 American science fiction film directed by Paul Verhoeven and written by Edward Neumeier, who worked together on RoboCop, which is a great film. Z, do you agree?
I agree. RoboCop is one of the top 10 films of all time.
It certainly is. It's set in the 23rd century. The story follows teenager Johnny Rico and his friends as they serve in the United Citizen Federation military, an Earth-based world government fighting an interstellar war against an alien species known as the arachnids. As you do. The film starred Casper Van Dien, Dina Meyer, Denise Richards, Jake Busey, oh my God, and Neil Patrick Harris. It was one of the highlights of the film. Everybody was saying at work, oh, have you seen that new sci-fi film with Doogie Howser in it? And I'm like, what? It also starred Michael Ironside, who worked in 1990 with Paul Verhoeven on the absolute classic Total Recall. He was Richter, Third Party Richter. It was originally called Bug Hunt at Outpost 7, written by Edward Neumeier, and producer John Davidson noticed quite a few bizarre coincidental similarities between Heinlein's book and suggested aligning the script more closely with the novel to garner greater interest from studio executives. It entered a bit of a production hell, with studios hesitant to fund the costly project right up to the start of filming. Principal photography took place between April and October 1996 on a $110 million budget, of which nearly half was spent on CGI and practical effects. There's one of the practical effects I want everybody to look out for. It's a real stinker. When you see it, you'll go, yep, that's it. That's the stinker. It was released on November 7th in 1997 in America. Starship Troopers faced critical backlash, with reviewers interpreting the film as endorsing fascism and disparaging its violence and cast performances. Despite initial box office success, because people were slating this film, especially the critics, it only grossed $121 million total against its budget, which made it the 34th highest grossing film of 1997. Its satire and violence failing to connect with the mainstream audience, plus a lackluster marketing campaign from the studio. Since its release, though, Starship Troopers has been critically reevaluated and is now considered to be an essential cult classic and prescient satire of fascism and authoritarian governance, and that's grown in relevance in modern days, if you think about it. The film launched a franchise that includes 4 sequels and an animated television series, as if you'd let your kids watch this. Hello, Jill. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Great to be here.
That's all right. When was your first experience of Starship Troopers?
Well, I was just 12 years old. I watched it for the first time, and my dad had it on, and I just didn't want to go to bed early. And it was just, at that age, it was just a fun bugs and, trooper thing. But it actually means a whole lot more as I've grown up. I love this movie so much now. Now it's in my top 10 because it's the antithesis to Star Trek in almost every way. Do you want to be a citizen with all your rights? In Star Trek, you're born with it. In Starship Troopers, you quite almost literally pay for it with an arm or a leg or more.
Yeah, there's certainly that about it. I remember hearing about it at work from the guys at work. Oh, Trev, have you seen this new movie? It's got that guy from Total Recall in it. I'm like, which one? There's several, because there's also Dean. I forgot his last name now. Go on, somebody help me out. Dean
Norris.
That's it, Dean Norris, who played Tony in Total Recall. You know, you got a lot of nerve showing your face around here, Hazza. Look who's talking. That's
also
the man.
Also Hank in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to next. Thank you for beating me to it. So, yeah, it's been in loads of things. And like any sort of director, they have a bit of a stable of actors they seem to fall back on. You know, like we were talking a couple of weeks ago about Joe Dante, and he'd got his stable, like Wendy Schaal, also Dick Miller, and a few other ensemble cast members like Robert Picardo. Paul Verhoeven seems to do a similar thing, because not only have we got Michael Ironside, who was in Total Recall, you've also got the guy who was the Quarto bloke. I can't remember his name. He was in, was he in Sledgehammer? Oh, crikey.
Quado. I don't remember Quado either. I don't remember his actor.
What, from Total Recall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know the character.
Can't remember.
I'm going to have to IMDb it, because I have been right up, to be honest with you guys and everybody in the chat, this was right up to the wire. I've been working
Marshall
on this.
Bell.
That's it, Marshall Bell. I did say that the other week, and somebody said it wasn't. So it kind of made me think that I was totally wrong. So, yeah, Marshall Bell, he's in it too. I don't know off the top of my head if there was anybody else who was in the cast of Total Recall. Z, you might be able to pick me up on this one. What do you think?
Honestly, couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It's been a while since I watched Recall, to be honest with you.
Hey, we might have to do that in a few weeks' time.
That sounds pretty good to me. One that did always, well, it sent me for a 6 every time I see her in it, is Rue McCallaghan, who plays the biology teacher from the Golden Girls.
You've ruined me. You've ruined one of my lines. What? Oh, no. Oh, crikey.
It was great to see her.
She was she's a blind golden girl in this, isn't she?
Nazi scientist in this.
Yeah, that's the whole point. All the adults are all deformed or been incapacitated from the war in some way.
Thank you for being a friend. Down the road and back up again. Oh, I absolutely love this, and a little bit behind the ball tonight. So I'm going to just quickly catch up with the chat. Manem, who says, "Come on." Did nobody see the video, or did I just totally mess it up? Did anybody else see the video at the beginning? Was there a video?
I saw it.
Oh, that's all right then. So I was starting to panic, because I'm still getting my head around this. So hello to Manem in the chat, the oldest gamer. Stark of Iron. Hey, you're in there too. Hail, everybody. Flav. Hi, matey. How are you? Wayfarer Project. He's doing his part. There's gonna be a lot of, like, in-jokes about this, and I'm loving it. I'm just looking forward. Tom's in there, so professional. Thank you, Tom. I'll see you tomorrow. Potato Revan. Hello there, Tater. Is there any room for a potato? Well, Tater, yes. Come and knock on my door. I shall let you in. We love you. Andrew Broadbent. I might as well just stick these up on screen, haven't I? What's it? It's in dollars, Trev. Buy me a coffee. Oh, what's this? Gavin Blackburn. Konnichiwa, Tlev. I'm not quite sure what that means.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I know what it means. I don't know what he's getting at. I just obviously a bit of sarcasm with our Gav. Not Brian's there. Hello, welcome all. Hail everybody. Who else have we got in there? Let's see what we can see. I'm trying to get through everybody as quick as I can. Obviously, Tater's in there. Finity, the timey-wimey-limey. Hello there, sir. How are we? Ash and Prism. It says he's seen this film 20 times at least.
Wow.
I can't fault you. Oh, God. There's always one on every stream. Hello, Melvin. Hail. Is there a XXX version? Starship Troopers, maybe. Asking for a friend. Yeah, we know that is. That's you. You dirty Gertie. You're going to smack bottom. Mind you probably enjoy it. DJ Knight says, hi, guys. Yes, I hear you knocking. I'll be with you very shortly. Who else is in the chat? Tom says here. Ironside. Always good value. And we were talking about scanners somewhere else, weren't we? And it's just funny that's come along. I love this. Mike Oxlong. This film is a bit too models playing actors. Pretty for my liking. But Michael Ironside kept it real, thankfully. He did indeed, didn't he? Who else is in the chat? I am so far behind tonight, guys. Do bear with me. Hail to everybody. Darlit Bread. What's this? He says, I preferred the Roughnecks CGI TV series to this movie, as it was more faithful to the book, and the characters were a lot more likable. I like the thought of that. Like somebody else has said, yeah, they did seem a bit too modelly and a bit too clean-cut, these actors. And I don't think, right, that the actors themselves knew it was going to be perceived as a B movie, you know, and that must feel really bad. Hello to Feltz in the chat as well. Let me just quickly get through the chat. Sword in the Storm there. More rum wordage in the chat. Who else have we got knocking on the door? Let's see. Here we go. Now we're in trouble. Don't let anybody in here. Hello, Tater.
Hello.
I'm hoping and praying that you've actually seen Total Recall.
Years ago, but yes, I have.
Because don't take this the wrong way. This might be a compliment, so take it as the compliment that it might be perceived as. But you seem a bit of a young shaver.
Well, I'm 34. I'm 36, man.
Oh, you're still a baby, but never mind. We'll look after you. You're the baby of the bunch. Right, let's progress with some slides, shall we? I've been breaking my neck to get stuff loaded up here because, like I said, getting everything together on this. Hang on, it's screwing me about now. Oh, for God's sake. In a bit. We'll do that one in a bit. Right.
Spoilers.
I don't know I am just so not happy with Restream, to be fair, because it just seems, and it's done it again. Oh, for God's sake.
StreamYards used to be the best, but then they shoved their prices up.
Yeah, that's the one thing that kind of put me off from there.
But
so, anybody recommend a decent streaming service?
Even
nice.
But it screws up on Apple and mobile devices.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Restream or StreamYard?
No, EveMux. EveMux for free. It lets like 12 people on the panel, like let you go as long as you want. It's actually quite good. But what you just said, the cast were actually told that the movie was going to be quite serious, which is why all the cast take the movie very, very serious. They didn't know it was a parody.
Yeah, they seem to act that way, don't they? Like they're
Yes.
taking it very seriously.
It's
They were
it's
told
like
to.
90210 with plasma rifles.
Yeah.
That's part of the satire, and
I
it works
know,
so
it's
well. I think.
brilliant.
It's funny how we all look back on this now and we see the film for how it was initially intended, but a lot of people, everybody just thought it was a cheesy pop culture movie at the time, and everybody put it to one side, and it kind of became like a solid B movie until go on.
Like, one of my favorite lines in it is when they were at the recruiting desk, and it's like, "You're going Marines. The Marines made me the man that I am today." And he was missing, like, he only had one arm, a robotic hand, no legs.
Let's hope he doesn't use the wrong hand to please himself. Anyway, after that initial video, I hope everybody saw it and not just a blank screen. I'm really panicking. I'm really paranoid about that, but we'll move on. Here. So we start with the follow-on from that advert. Obviously, this fascist regime control all the media. So everything is basically, it's just controlled. Like they say, those who control the flow of media control everything and the information. So, the humans are being attacked by bugs from the other side of the galaxy, from the lovely planet known as Klendathu. But good news is we've got the technology and the firepower to shoot these asteroids down. But would you like to know more? Who would like to know more? Why?
I would love to know more.
Me too.
Definitely, these little advertisements are my favorite.
If you notice, it's typical Ed Neumeyer. We had these in RoboCop. You get the satirical commercial breaks, like Nukem and stuff like that. And obviously, he's carried. This is his trademark, basically. He's parodying media and how, if it's controlled, it can brainwash the audience. And I think that's another message and another symbol of fascism. Anybody else agree to disagree or disagree to agree?
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. One of the legs of holding up any kind of like totalitarian regime, fascist, nationalist, or monarchic, is making sure that the populace feels like they are not just protected, but they are appreciated, even in the grand scheme that they're not.
Yeah.
And by making sure that the only people who can vote or be in the government or can be a politician or can even have babies are people who become citizens, it makes that propaganda control everything, and only people who are for the war, for the troops and the military actually have a say in perpetuating that regime.
If you notice it, everything about the society that's been created, it's to control people, and the carrot is constantly dangled for these people. If you want to do this in life, first of all, you've got to do this for us. It's a one-way barter system, because they know a lot of the times that these kids aren't going to come back alive or in one piece, so they're not going to be able to do what they wanted to do. I mean, just look at, Radchek, he's an exception to the rule. He's a stark reminder, no pun there, Tony. He's a stark reminder that, this is what happens when you go and fight for what you believe in, even if what you believe in is a complete lie and it's just, you've just been spoon-fed bullshit all your life. So this is Klendathu, the other side of the galaxy to us, and it's amazing how these bugs can fart into space and knock asteroids our way. How these... Well, I don't want to give too much away for people who haven't seen it, but you'd have to be some kind of genius to work out the sheer dynamics of everything that would affect that asteroid as it traveled through space.
There's a thing about the asteroids I'll bring up later. Nobody has brought it up ever.
And what's that?
I'll bring it up when you come up to it. You're not at the part yet.
I think I know exactly what you're going to say. But then again, I'm psychic, so that probably is true.
Why have you got crystal balls?
It's not much of a stretch though to say if it's on the other side of the galaxy, it's got to go warp speed or hyperspeed.
Unless it didn't start on the other side of the galaxy.
That's right. That's my point. Too.
Wormhole.
Are you
Okay.
suggesting a false flag operation?
Nope.
Yes.
Mm.
I'm suggesting that.
Anyway, let's call it with the conspiracy theories. I know Swappers is in the green room. We don't want to feed him any conspiracy theories. He'll start, and we know what he's like, don't we? See when he starts with a conspiracy. Ooh, tinfoil hats aplenty. So anyway, invasion. That's the call to action for this lovely way of life, and we start with an invasion fleet of these great looking ships. Oh, the Roger Young's such a beautifully shaped ship. I like
May I? These are not an invasion fleet. These are defensive ships.
Right.
We're not the invaders, We're defending
No.
ourselves.
Merely peacekeeping
Obviously not.
ships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
Let's see.
love the ships though. Sort of like they're quite iconic as well in the way they look. It's sort of like retro militaristic. It's Star Trek, you've got all the sleek lines and everything looks really cool and fluffy, and this just looks like it's designed to do nothing but fight.
There's nothing like reframing something in your favor. I've just been informed by Swappers, it's not tinfoil, it's called Faraday clothing, actually. Well, thank you for letting us know about
It's
that.
only Faraday clothing if it encapsulates the entire body. Otherwise, if there's a gap, then the waves still get through. So not quite.
True. So anyway, let's progress a little bit, shall we? Let's keep moving forward. We get this TV reporter, and he's like, oh, we're live, and we're on this bug planet, a mean planet, a bug planet. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of From Dusk Till Dawn. We got all kinds of you-know-what. I'm not going to go there. So anyway,
Cats.
Mr. TV... Yes, that's it. It's cats. Anyway, Mr. TV gets, how should we say, he loses a lot of weight suddenly. Bless him. He's been trying for a while, and he's completely legless now. So Rico steps in, and he tries to do the right thing and save this guy. But it's kind of all for naught, really. He tries his very hardest, but it doesn't really work out for him. Bless him. So Rico gets pincered in the leg, and we see the camera pointing at him. And next thing we see is an arachnid chewing on the camera. But then it's one of those films where it takes you back. It goes back to a start point. So we go back exactly 1 year earlier, and we find these guys are all still in school. So just
in their 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Casper Van Dien, Dina Meyer, and Patrick Muldoon were all 29 when they made this film. But they're trying to
Really?
pull off 16-year-olds. Really?
That just sounded wrong how you put that, Z, to be fair.
It is.
That they
It's
were
like
trying to pull
21
off.
Jump Street. You've got
Yeah.
full-grown adults mixing with kids.
It kind of... It's daft. And it's just a little bit crazy when you see these people pretending to be an age that they're not. I mean, Neil Patrick Harris, bless him, he can pull it off because he only looks 11 in this, and he's at least, 42? Crazy. That guy seems to be aging backwards. I don't know how he does it.
If we're talking about the age, if you consider the fact that if you assume Starship Troopers is actually a bit of propaganda, then you're going to get the people who look the best to entice people to watch and therefore enlist.
Yes.
So this whole thing
True.
could just be a propaganda movie to get people to fight the bugs.
There is that. That's very interesting. I like that theory. So this is Johnny Rico, and he's in class with Mr. Radcheck, played by Michael Ironside, Neil Patrick Harris at the front there, pretending to pretend that he's not there because he's like thinking, I was in Doogie Howser once. How the fuck did I end up here? That's a different story. Oh dear. You've got to love it. And Johnny is infatuated with not her. She's infatuated with him. That's Dizzy Flores. We'll get to talk about her a little bit later on.
No, we please
Give
do.
over.
God, yes.
But, Johnny is looking over to Carmen Ibanez, played by Denise Richards. And yeah, I don't know. She looks kind of rough these days, to be fair. And Dina Meyer looks better than Denise Richards now.
Yeah.
Because I hate to say it, but Denise Richards kind of looks like she's been sucking too many golf balls through hose pipes lately.
Oh dear, oh dear.
But that's just my take on that.
A mouth like a cat's bum.
So the actress
no.
has had a lot of plastic work. Even here, you can't see it clearly on like her nose and around her mouth.
I'm sorry to lower the tone, but Swappers has just interjected. He wants me to tell everybody this because he's dying for me to tell you. Swappers says she was shag-ragged by Charlie Sheen. That's why she looks haggard.
Oh, she's got the AIDS.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I feel sorry for her. Hopefully, there's a good plastic surgeon somewhere in LA that can put it all back together again. Because if
So
he's
I have
been
a
there,
weird take about this class. They're doing ethics, okay, in a clearly like fascistic society. But it seems that Ratchek is trying to put some free thinking in their head. It's like, but why do you believe this?
well, it's like anything. The education system's always been used as a form of indoctrination at one level or another.
Mhm.
And we're seeing that more so than ever in today's society. You look at people that are going into universities and higher education places, they go in normal and they come out liberal freaks. Sorry,
Yeah.
liberals.
Rainbow flags in primary schools. The hell?
This is it. And, people with penises can have babies, and I don't want to go there. Well, that's as far as we're going to go with this one. Anybody in the chat, when did you first see this film? And what did you think? And we'll stick up your comments in a couple of minutes.
Well, Paul Verhoeven says it's his favourite movie of his own.
Well, I don't blame him. It's a good film.
And same says for Casper Von Dien's. He said it's his favourite and it's his favourite role.
Yeah, he came from Thingamabob soap operas, didn't he? Was he on General Hospital, Jill? Do you know?
I don't know this. No, I didn't watch soap operas.
No, I don't either. No. So anyway, they go to check out their exam results. Carmen.
This has to be a humiliation tactic. This screen.
Shh. Yeah, well, it's to discourage people from being doinks, really, if you think about it. So anyway, Carmen gets 97% because she's a smart girl. She's that clever. But Johnny, he's not so bright. He's good at sports. He's your atypical jock, as our cousins across the water would say. Do you agree with that one, Tony? Is he a jock?
Not just a jock, but just an all-in-all meathead. Thinks on his. But that's the charm. That's the charm of Johnny Rico. Is he's not the smartest. He's not the most tactically endowed, but he's still able to move through the ranks of the enlisted mobile infantry. Simply because he's a badass. He ends up becoming a badass. He goes through the motions,
Yeah.
And that is what military regimes want in certain sections of their military. You want intelligent people and intelligence, and you want physically capable and people that can be admired by other grunts for feats of heroism and strength to be your leaders for your boots on the ground.
Who really assists in this is field commissions, which he gets several of.
Yeah.
Well, by the end of the
does.
franchise, he's a general.
He is, yeah.
Well, and I looked it up for you. He was in One Life to Live, Saved by the Bell, and 90210.
Saved by the Bell. That was titled different over here. When it came over here, it was Saved by the Bell End. I'm not quite sure. Maybe that was a different show. Do you remember that one, Z?
Yeah. I used to watch it with the kids.
Yeah. Didn't Screech do a porno?
He did.
I didn't follow him.
I remember hearing that as
Dustin Diamond, or I think it is, isn't it?
It was, Dustin Diamond.
Yeah.
Is he still
And then
alive?
No, he's dead.
Is he?
Yeah.
For real?
For real. Yeah, he's dead.
My goodness. Lifestyles of the rich and famous. Lifestyles of the horizontal, more like. Screech dead. I did not know that. So anyway, Johnny's a bit of a laughing stock, really. He's not too impressed, and Carl's loving it. Carl if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, he ends up in the perfect job because he's one sick little bastard. He really is. Somebody's knocking at my door. Who is it?
No psycher isn't a sicko. Come on, he's a psycher. He knows every bad thought you think.
Yeah. He's like, if you notice as well, I draw parallels here with a bit of Babylon 5-age because it's like the Psy-Corps.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
So if you get these people and you encourage psychics and stuff like that, would they ultimately become your thought police?
Ooh. I mean, what happens after we win?
Well,
and Minority Report.
And not to give away too much, but also can influence the troops and their actions, as we see later.
Yeah, because he does say he can't do humans yet. And it's really interesting that it's only been 200 years, but humanity has progressed and evolved to the point where they've got latent psychic abilities.
Nice to have in your arsenal. Sword in the Storm says, saw it in the cinema when it came out and loved it. It was good. I didn't see it in the cinema. I had to wait for VHS. Oh, God, VHS was so good back in the day. File 13 says, this movie made me a better soldier and citizen. Loved it. I'm sure he said somewhere that he watched it in basic. Where was it? Yeah, I think he said he did it. He saw it in basic. Sorry, I can't find it. This is rubbish, this thing. Flav says, long ago, who knows, but I rewatched it again a couple of hours ago. Hey, I can't fault you. Tom says, bless you, Potato.
Thank you.
Tom says, at Glastonbury, loved it. We sat around a campfire at the time. That's amazing. Watching it there must have been one of those little doofer, little DVD ones back in the day. I don't know. Ashen Prism says, saw it in 97. I love it. Probably watch it once a year. Oh, I found file 13's other message. I saw this in the middle of basic training. Gav, hello there. Says, saw it a couple of years after release on video. Didn't get it at first, but loved it once the penny dropped. Wayfarer project. We're talking about jocks. He says he's more like a jock strap. Gamer says that Dina Meyer was on General Hospital. A lot of big stars got their big break in there, like David Hasselhoff.
Don't hassle the Hoff.
No, you don't hassle the Hoff. It's still very big in Germany, apparently. File 13 says, next thing you know, it's wanted a tattoo on the Roughnecks. Yeah. That's a cool tattoo. My name says, just noticed that the channel has jumped to 401 subs from 163. That's pretty good for 1 week. I am in shock. Thank you to everybody that has subscribed. I don't know what to say. I am truly humbled. You know? What can I say? Thank you. That's all I can do. And if that's a reflection of what we're doing here and people are enjoying it, then I aim to consistently keep upping the quality and what we're doing. Tom says, might have to watch all Dina Meyer films for research purposes. Yeah, you and a box of Kleenex. Anyway, I'm hoping it's the same Tom, because otherwise I'm going to look a right tit. Oldest Gamer says Dina was also in Johnny Mnemonic. She was. She wasn't quite. Wasn't quite hitting the mark. You know. That's what I thought. Anybody else get that?
I've not really seen her in anything else, to be honest with you, so I honestly couldn't comment.
Tom says he watched it in an outdoor cinema. Go on, Tater. Go on, Tater.
She was actually in Friends for a few episodes.
Really?
When Joey was doing a play, she was Joey's partner in the play. And then they slept together, and then she ended up getting a role on a TV show.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's how they do it in Hollywood, is it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can't fault them, really. Jammy bastards. Let's have a look at some more slides. We'll catch up with you in a shortly, chat. We'll have a good natter. But do let me know your thoughts. Don't get too rude. I believe one of my relatives is watching, and I don't want to get in fucking trouble. But anyway, Dizzy is absolutely wet through with Johnny, which Carl lets Johnny know about. But Johnny's not interested because he's only got eyes for Carmen. Although Carl is quite into Dizzy, which is a bit of an irony. She wouldn't touch that with a barge pole. But there we go. There's the golden girl in biology class. They're doing a bit of dissection. But if you notice there, I mean, is she completely blind? She's obviously got the stick and the glasses.
Yep.
Yes.
Blind,
Yeah.
stick, glasses. When she
Piano
switches
tuning
on
at
the,
weekends.
when she switches on the projector, she just haphazardly reaches out for it. It's quite funny.
Yeah.
When they
The
cut
war
those
torn.
things. Sorry.
I like the fact that Carmen, nerves of steel, eh? Which Dizzy says shortly. But look at that. That just says it all. She looks like she's had a mouthful of Charlie Sheen, to be fair.
Look at
Yeah,
that
so
lovely.
she
I was gonna say, look at that lovely
Premonition of her
face.
future career.
She was a Bond girl at one point.
She was. Was she in one of the last of the Pierce Brosnans?
Yes, the one about the nuclear submarine. The world is not.
The World
enough.
Is Not Enough.
That's it.
I
Yeah.
remember going to see that. Yeah, so she's not too thrilled. Johnny's just pulling away at those intestines. Pull it, Johnny, pull it. But look at her face. She's not enjoying it one bit. We get a nice sort of like Babylon 5 style heads-up display. And is it Rue Clanahan?
Rue
Yes.
McClanahan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, dear. She's not looking at her best there, to be fair, bless her. But she is a golden girl doing golden showers at the weekend and piano tuning. So Carmen loses her lunch. And just look at Dizzy's face. That just says it all. She hates that bitch with a passion.
This is
If looks could
Verhoeven's
kill.
favourite scene.
What? The one where she pukes?
No, this entire dissection scene. He loves it. This is his favourite
Yeah.
part.
He's a great director, but I think behind closed doors, he's a bit of a sick fuck. He just comes across. So
Most
anyway,
directors
later.
are, I think.
Pardon?
I was going to say most directors are. They all seem to have this. You can tell ones that have certain particular kinks, and it always comes across in their stuff.
I tell you who always struck me as being a bit kinky, although he sort of hid it well, and that was Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, yeah.
There's always some undertone of eroticism in all of his films. Yeah. So this is Carl, anyway, Johnny Rico's best friend, like a jock hangs around with a nerd. That's never been my experience as being a nerd back in the day. All the lads that were good at sports, just, I don't know. We kept out of each other's way, to be fair. So Carl is trying to get Johnny to be a bit more sidekick instead of more of a sidekick. And he's doing the... he's doing the
I got it.
Venkman
I
card
got
trick.
it.
He's doing the Venkman card trick. Thank you ever so much. I'm here all week. Yeah, so he's doing the old Venkman card trick with Johnny, and he's failing miserably. And it gets to a point where Carl starts losing a bit of his temper, and then his mate, Cyrano the ferret, turns up, and he puts a picture of a nice juicy grub crawling up his mother's leg, and this ferret goes racing off. And this is where he says he can't do humans yet. Is it that? Is that right?
Yeah.
Somebody remind me. It is
Yeah.
that bit, isn't it?
That's right.
But
Yeah.
the way
Don't
he
worry,
says
I
it
can't do humans.
and stuff later, I was thinking he was lying, but he can't say it. Kind of stuff.
I think he does at the end, but he can't say anything because it's classified.
Well, he says
Yeah.
he can't do humans yet.
Not yet. Yeah. So a little bit later on, there's a football game. Carmen's all there cheering away. And it's the Tigers versus the Giants. Obviously, these are different schools within Buenos Aires. And it's getting sort of close towards the end of the final period. And this guy takes a dive at Johnny, misses, ends up in the crowd. This is Xander. He plays a pivotal role within the film. Not only is he a sort of a wannabe love interest, he's also a provider of great shakes for something. But we'll find out more about that later. Anybody want a brain shake at all? Anyway, so Johnny's a bit preoccupied because Xander's chatting Carmen up, and Dizzy's getting kind of aggressive with him and a little bit angry. And look at that look like, I'm going to bone your missus. She's just lapping up the attention. Typical fashion. But Johnny, he's ready to lose his shit, to be fair. And Dizzy's like, hey, head in the game. Stop.
That's right.
You're using the wrong head. Think with the other one instead. And you've got to love it. Diz is she's drooling. She's drooling at Johnny. So there's like 1.6 seconds left. Xander's out to get Johnny, but Johnny lands a touchdown just as the whistle is blown, and Xander's kind of like he's just left there, out. He's not going to get anything there. It's time to move on. Sorry, Xander.
For now.
Anybody got any thoughts on where we've got to so far while I upload some more slides desperately?
You know, this film reminds me very much of Die Hard in the way it's paced. It's like you go scene, and virtually nothing is wasted in this. And you rarely get a character introduced who isn't paid off later. So it's one of those things that you can go back to and still get a certain level of enjoyment, a rewatchability that you just do not get from movies made today.
No.
There is that about it, and I don't know whether it's Verhoeven's style, but this still feels it feels reminiscent of RoboCop in places, and I like that.
Even the musical beats.
Yeah, you've got that consistency, and it's like you know what to expect from Paul Verhoeven, who's a sick Dutch fuck, but we love him anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And there's also more parallels to Star Trek here where men and women are pretty equal. They're both playing football together. They're both in war together. They're just...
they also shower, co-ed showers.
They also, yes.
I didn't include the scenes because too many people were saying they wanted to play a game of nipple count. And I wasn't up for that at this current stage of my YouTube career. So I thought I'd leave any breastage out of the equation. We're also going to play a little game tonight, I thought, between all of us.
Yeah.
There's one particular scene that will come up later. It's not happened yet, obviously, but I will tell you about this. There's a ooh, matron look. Somebody gives an ooh, matron look. And the first person to go, oh, matron, when they see that, can pick a film for future reference. So would anybody like to accept the challenge, or would you just think, oh, well, it's all right, bowl me over with that?
I'm doing my part.
You're doing your pots or your parts? I'm not quite sure what you said there.
I'm doing my part.
Nice. We're loving it. So, if somebody can look out for a picture that just goes, ooh, yeah, then I'm all up for that. And whoever says it first can pick a film. Not next week, because I'll just let everybody know now, before I forget, that next week, guess what we'll be doing? I've not told many people.
Meth?
No, I'm not really into maths. I'm a bit like Johnny Rico when it comes to maths. So we'll leave that one out. Next week, gang, we'll be doing... it's a good knife. Goodbye, Mr. Button. We're doing Big Trouble in Little China, the John Carpenter classic.
Ooh, very good. Good choice.
Oh, I like that. Somebody's got some sound effects in the background. I absolutely love it.
Why, thank you.
Johnny's getting ready for prom. So will there be any dumpster... What's a prom night dumpster baby? I'm not quite sure what that is. Anybody care to elaborate for me?
No. I know what it is.
Oh, well, I'll let you tell me later. So Johnny's getting ready to go to the prom, and his dad says, oi, what's this? When your dad says something like that, it's usually a questionable magazine featuring scantily clad ladies. But no, this is about joining up with the mobile infantry. His dad's not very happy. To say his dad looks really rich and well off, and his mum does too, they look like they've earned citizenship. Why wouldn't he be encouraging his son to do the same and be successful?
So there's a line in it later on that might explain what's going on here. So someone said the quickest way to citizenship is via the mobile infantry, but it's not the only way to citizenship. They could have gotten it a different way.
Well, you know, he gets called a rich kid later on, and he certainly does look as though he isn't short. And his parents look quite well off. And his dad bribes him with going to Zagama Beach, which will be quite instrumental later on in the film. Anybody else want to go to Zagama Beach? Is it like Skeggy? Do we know?
Oh, I think it's more like Hunstanton. Sandy.
Oh,
but
God.
a little bit nippy. And most of it smells of poo.
Yeah, we went on a holiday to Stanton about 1978, and that was the last time we ever went there. Thank fuck, because it was a shithole. So we get to the prom, and Dizzy sort of makes a beeline for Johnny, but he's walking in with Carmen, and she like goes, phew. She does a sharp, she's like Automan. She does a 90-degree turn and goes the other way. Automan, God, that was a show. Ooh,
God, look at that woman.
90-degree turns and no whiplash.
Yeah, except for Walter Nebica, because he was getting whiplash on a weekly basis. Who were you drooling at there? Were you drooling at Denise Richards or Dina Meyer?
Dina Meyer.
Well, I can't fault you one bit. Whatever floats your boat, sir. So she kind of makes it look like she's doing something else, but she's actually quite embarrassed. Bless her. Oh, she's lovelorn. She wants Johnny, but Johnny wants Carmen. But Carmen wants anybody who can give her a fast track to being a captain. In my best cheesy voice. So she goes up to Johnny when Carmen nips to wet her lettuce, I think. Or does she go to powder her nose? I'm not quite sure. Either way, she came back a bit soggy. That's that's my opinion. And she's she wants him. She's moist for Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at that. The way she looks at him, it's like, dude, you had me at hello. She wants you, Johnny. But Johnny's like, I'm off to go and have a bit of a dance with Carmen. And here comes Doogie Howser. He's like, hey. What she doesn't know is he's secretly gay. Well, he was back then, apparently. Bless him. Doogie Howser, MD. So Rico has a chat with Mr. Radchek, and he says, I've joined up. And he's like, good for you, Johnny. Dope. The indoctrination worked. And look who Carmen bumps into. Xander's here, and he's like, oh, no hard feelings, mate. Yeah, all's fair in love and war. And he's like, yeah, no offence, none taken. But there is. So Johnny's about to have a bit of a slow dance with Carmen. Just look at Dizzy. She's pining for him. She's like a dog scratching at a door. If she got her hands on him, she wouldn't let him out till she'd finished. Just I don't know. Denise Richards does look like she's had some work done there. That nose does not look natural.
Told you.
Jill, what do you think? Do you think she's had some work done?
I think she's so young. I don't think she's had work done yet. But I can't say one way or the other.
That drop from nose to lip looks a bit. I don't know. It looks a bit bizarre to me. Whereas Dina, she's all natural. In fact, if you notice, Carmen is the only person who didn't get her jugs out. Bizarre, that. So anyway, she whispers in Johnny's ear, Johnny, are they going to do it tonight?
Good impression, yeah.
I want you to take me off at Bonnet and give me a right good shafting. Go on.
I want you, and I need you.
Basically,
So she does get them off, but it's off screen.
Oh, yeah. She's like, my dad's gone away. He's gone to a chlamydia convention. How would you like to join mine?
Well, you're not going to say no, are you? She looks
No,
like she
not
can
really.
lick the bottom of a jar of peanut butter.
When you're that age, you're mechanically minded, you'll screw anything. So,
or you're join the service to continue to screw everything.
So there we go. There's the flag of the mobile infantry. And they all go and take an oath. Look at them, they're all there. There's Johnny, Carmen, Doogie Howser. I can't call him Carl. You've got to call him Doogie Howser.
There's the scene.
What's this? Swappers says 100% not a natural nose. Oh. Well, okay. You got me there.
Swap Shop, and this has been The More You Know.
Oh, not Brian says in the chat. Just hold on a second, love. That Doogie Howser MD pronunciation was from the. It is. It rumbled me. Yeah, Doogie Howser MD. I used to love the Mary Whitehouse Experience.
Lovely.
And I can't imagine how Melv knows this. Melv seems to have his finger on the pulse of porn. He says Denise was in Playboy in 2004. I heard. Rhubarb, you've got it. You. Oh, yeah, you've got it.
Milky.
Eminem says, is that my Greg Wallace voice? I didn't realise Greg Wallace was from South Yorkshire, but never mind. Up and I'm going to do the floating shed, love. I could always do my Sean Bean. Up and I'm going to knob thee. But never mind. This guy says, oh, you're all signing up. Lovely jubbly. You're all doing well. What have you got? And she says, oh, I'm going to the Fleet Academy. And she's like, oh, yeah, you do really well. And then Doogie Howser, MD, comes in and says, I've got games and theory. And it's like, oh, military intelligence. So basically, he's going to be a spy. He's going to be like NSA, FBI, BBC, MFI. He's going to be job lot, basically. And Johnny's like, oh, I'm going to be mobile infantry. And this guy, no, I'm not saying that, Swappers, but thank you anyway. He says, oh, nice to have you on board. He says, the mobile infantry, look at his hand, mobile infantry made me what I am today. And he's legless. He's permanently pissed he's legless, folks.
Got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
I imagine this is to scare away anybody who's too weak-willed.
I think this is the irony of indoctrination. Even though he's lost his legs and his right hand, he doesn't care. He thinks he's done his part. You know, he's happy with his outcome.
He's being a valued member of society. He's contributing. So
he is.
Therefore, his presence is worthwhile in his mind.
True.
And earlier when they were given the oath, one of the things I like about this movie is that you have to give up your rights in order to earn your rights. They essentially say, oh, you'll be here for at least 2 years, but maybe more as the government needs you.
What I found ironic about that scene was when they all start the pledge with by my own free will, but it's a room full of people repeating the same thing. It doesn't really seem like free will. It sounds like you're all been programmed, mate.
Yeah, it all seems it's coercion of a fashion. So the trio of friends make this Scooby-Doo pact. Whoa, we'll be friends forever. Oh, despite a war. Obviously, they're that naive. They don't know they just don't know what's coming. I've noticed as well, there is quite a bit of foreshadowing in the early parts of this film. And I like that.
Yeah, this movie has a huge Chekhov's gun. There's loads of little bits that they set up really early on that all come back later, and it's really good storytelling.
It is. I like things that foreshadow because you can go back and go, I get that bit now.
Makes sense. The second time around,
like the guy Ed Neumeyer's left you little breadcrumbs along the trail. And then you can pick up on those breadcrumbs and it helps you piece together what the film is actually trying to get across. It's very cerebral that way, but he doesn't do it in a patronizing way. Unlike Johnny's dad, who says to Johnny, oh, you're not signing up. If you think about it, it's a little bit like Vietnam in reverse. Nobody wanted to go, but everyone wants to go and fight this fight because they're that brainwashed in their own society by, everything's normalized from birth to death. Everything about all this control of society is just, it's just so accepted. Everybody's grown up with it. They don't question it. They're not wolves. They're all sheep.
But do you notice something? Nobody stands out.
True.
Like there's no weird hair colors. Like barely, no one has a beard. No one stands out.
Well, yeah.
That's one of the things I noticed is if you look at all the costumes of everybody, even at the high school, none of them have got branding or logos on. It's all very plain, like a militarized society.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, like a one-size-fits-all brand.
Exactly, yeah. It's
Yeah.
very seldom flamboyant. It's all very subdued, which obviously changes up later as we go along.
World
Hey.
government.
Yeah, Drew Gordon says from the cradle to the grave. Yeah, that's the exact idea. So Johnny's dad says, don't matter, you can get out of it. Don't worry about it. You'll look a bit of a doink. You'll get some lashes in public square, but you can walk it off. And he's like, no. So he goes to the terminal for all the newbies going to wherever it is they need to go. And Johnny's like, well, I'm wearing everything I own. And Carmen's like, yeah, piss off. I'm going to flight school. She does. She's quite cruel with him here because he says, I love you. And she won't say it back. The one thing he wants to hear is so vulnerable at this point in his life.
Yeah.
And all he wants to hear from Carmen is, I love you. She can't bring herself to say it. She reluctantly does, though. But that's only because her transport's about to leave and she dives on it before Johnny can think twice about the little peck on the cheek he got. Pew! She's chuffed off. She's disappeared.
Oh, that's hilarious, though.
Oh, superb timing, Mr. Stark.
Of course.
But if you notice at this image, what can you see? He's looking out and all he sees is himself back, not her. He doesn't see her. He just sees himself staring back at himself. Now, is that the call to action for him to wake up and smell the coffee? What do you think?
No, I don't think that. I think he's just dealing with loss at this point. He doesn't really get that call to action until Buenos Aires gets nuked.
Yeah. You know what I think it might be? He's now got tunnel vision.
Well, there is that, I suppose. That's one way of putting it. So anyway, after that, Johnny, I keep saying Johnny, and it's doing me head in a little bit. Beautifully stiff, Fanny. I love Short Circuit. Don't forget, gang, keep looking out for that ooh matron moment, because if you say ooh matron when you see that particular picture, you can pick a film on a future Monday Night Mayhem, which might be moving to Tuesday soon, but more about that later. So we go to another one of these cheesy in-world commercial breaks.
I love these.
They are. They're pure parody. They're sheer parody. And you've got a bunch of soldiers, and they're letting kids play with their ammo. The kids are grabbing handfuls of ammo. They're playing with the guns. I did take those shots out because I didn't really want to have pictures of kids holding that kind of stuff, if you know what I mean. So we see what this regime's really like. It's that fascist. That crime must be a rare thing because a guy dares to commit murder and he's sentenced. I think, is that Ed Neumeyer? Or is that Frank? Hang on a minute. It looks a bit like Frank Miller, doesn't it? Without his glasses. Because him and Ed Neumeyer are good friends, aren't they? Because Frank Miller wrote to RoboCop 2. I wonder. So anyway, he's sentenced to death. Oh, look. And there's the chair. It's not like that one. Did anybody hear my chair break last Friday?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
you need to get you one of these.
I was a little bit concerned. I did actually go to A&E to have my left bollock examined because I crushed it.
No.
I've got a bruised bollock, but I've got to go for an ultrasound on it, which is quite bizarre. It's not the first time I've had a medical person holding my junk, which I'm not too thrilled about, to be fair.
If they start laughing, don't mind them.
Yeah. So anyway, if you notice, I find this quite ironic, how, like we were saying before, he who controls the flow of information controls everything. Now, this execution is being shown at 6 p.m., not 9 p.m., 6 p.m. when kids and everybody will be like having the dinner or tea or whatever you want to call it.
Prime
and
time.
it says all net, all channels. So that's everywhere. right across this. How can I put it? I wouldn't like to say United Nations.
Globe.
Yeah, it's like the WEF got their way and they took over. Although it is mentioned early on that veterans performed a revolt against the government and became their own government. Hello, MC in the chat. Thank you for joining us. I wonder if it came to a point where people rose up against the establishment, and then in turn they became the establishment.
Yep.
Yet again, another irony.
But
That's revolution.
But they also state, I think it's in this like little TV junket, Mormon extremists.
Yeah, that's a little bit later on. We'll get to that in due time. That's at the end of this infomercial. And I love how they keep saying, "Would you like to know more?" And it's almost like internet, and it says all net, all channels. So I wonder, could it be foreshadowing so good it became true? Because if you think about it, TV is starting to become a dying thing. Everything's going online. Everything's on the net. And we're all watching content delivered from the net. So if this is 1997, this is damn good foreshadowing, I think.
Well, absolutely.
In 97 and 96, I watch a lot of technology stuff. They were talking about like bringing the computers through your TV, downloading like TV programs to your TV. So it was already starting.
Yeah, but back in 1997, if you wanted to download anything, good luck, it took you a week.
1997 was actually some of the first streaming that was ever done. It was back when it was Real Player, it was called.
It was shite as well.
It was terrible, but it was the first one that allowed a place to have a file and it to be streamed to a computer live.
Did you have a 56.6 modem when they came out? Because I was cock-a-hoop. I was amazed at the blistering speed of 56.6. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Tater's loading up.
That's not me.
I had a 33.
Oh, God. Turn it off. Yeah. Anyway,
okay, sorry.
I have a serious question now. Serious question, guys. Are you psychic?
Psychotic, perhaps, but
because I want 6 numbers for the lottery this weekend. That'd be kind of cool.
4,
I'll share it with
15, 16, 23, and 42.
I'd love to pick 69, but it's not an option.
Wait a minute. Where are those the numbers from Lost?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you notice this reminds me of an advert that I actually saw in Babylon 5 for the Psychor, where it said, "Are you psychic?" And if you suspected somebody of being psychic, you could report them so they could be brought in instead of becoming rogue telepaths.
Well, let's just test that. Pick a number between 1 and 20.
Don't
20.
say 7.
Right.
Wrong.
Banana.
Go on, then, tell me what the number is.
No, you had to guess it, but you're not psychic.
Oh, I picked 17.
No, it wasn't 17. No.
Oh, fuck you then.
Sorry, Pav.
Should have been 17.
There we go. He's got his third eye. And then it all goes like, "Ooh, aura. He's got an aura coming out of his eye." It's a good job it wasn't
Columbia TriStar did this.
Hey, and I like this bit because they showed you what an arachnid could actually do. So they stick this poor cow in. Oh, dear. Is it Vanessa Feltz? I don't know. Possibly.
Jurassic Park all over again.
Yeah. Which was awful. And, oh, balls, I missed that. Oh, sorry, there was the bit where it said censored. Obviously, I missed that out.
Oh, yes, the censored parts are great. And
Star Trek also for you.
Star Trek also predicted the end of television in 2040 in the episode Neutral Zone.
That's right, where the people were revived from cryogenic freezing. He's going, where's the boob tube? I want to catch up on the programs. That was, oh God, what's his name? Leon Rippey?
Yeah, his name was Sunny in the episode.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great episode. So anyway, this is basic camp where Johnny Rico goes. And Johnny's there, in line, chin up, breast out, proud as punch. And who's the drill sergeant? Yes, SpongeBob!
Oh, Mr. Krabs! Ah!
Did
somebody
say SpongeBob?
I bet you any money Melvin knows that there's probably a porn version of SpongeBob. It's called Spunk Bob Shit Pants. And Mr. Krabs has actually got crabs, and Patrick's called Fat Dick. Is that right, Melv? Can you help me out there, mate? At all? So anyway, this guy here, I know he gets chomped up later, but he deserves it because he's just such a smug little prig. But Mr. Krabs is having none of it. He makes him do circuits, and he tells everybody that if you were not up to it and you're a bit of a weak, lily-livered type, you can always take a walk down Washout Lane. Okie dokie. Thank you, Tater.
No worries.
Tater's got to take a bow out, but thank you for joining us, sir. It was a pleasure having you
Later.
on.
Thank you.
Later, Tater.
Bye.
Later.
It's Tater's precious.
He's probably going to get mashed.
Mm.
Okay, puns are plenty. So there's Washout Alley. So he says to the privates, any of you guys think you could take me on and knock me on my arse? And this guy here is a bit of a, how can I put it? He's good at farming, not so good at fighting, as we'll find out shortly. And he's going, I reckon I can knock you on your ass, sir. And he's like, come on up, private. He's not very good. And Zim knocks him on his arse. And he's not content to...
Wait, no, he breaks his arm.
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Medic.
But if you look at this. This is the abject horror of these female recruits. And Zim has grown up in this army environment, and he's took the Kool-Aid quite literally, and he hurts people in a overly vicious way. He goes one step beyond in teaching lessons. So Farm Boy gets his arm broke, as Jill quite rapidly told us before I split second before I showed the slide. Thank you, Jill. I love it when you do that. And he says medic a lot, doesn't he, Clancy Brown, in this film?
Yeah, he's but apparently the medicine's so good that a lot of these recruits are back up and into the training.
Well, it's the 23rd century, you know. Yeah. They have the technology. Yeah. Bless them. They're going to fucking need it with this guy. He's psycho. He's a nut. He's absolutely nuts. So anyway, after that, Dizzy shows up. She transfers in from Fort Cronkite. I like that. A nice little nod there to Walter Cronkite. And if you think about it, Ed Neumeier makes a point within this film about how media is a form of control. And that's, you know, she transfers from Fort Cronkite, Walter Cronkite. Wasn't he the guy on CBS News back in the day? Anybody in America? Anyway, so she comes in and she says, yeah, I'll be your Huckleberry and I'll take you on. So she steps in and Zim's all that for a bit of a lashing. And she manages to get one good swipe in. And she gets a bit kung fu on his ass. But he knocks her down with a sweeping leg kick and gets down on the floor. And not only is he content with choking her out and holding a carotid artery till she passes out, but he's actually twisting her arm right round. You know, he just he's not happy with just getting her down and holding her. He goes in for the twist. So, you know, and look at that. He's like, you can hear a wrist going.
Yeah,
like
but isn't it good to see a girl attack a fully trained soldier and not completely girl boss him?
True. Yeah, but if you think about it, that's feminism done the right way.
It is.
It's
she's
not
strong enough to give it a go.
Yeah, but
he does land a punch.
She's going to get knocked on her ass, but it's not hyperbole. It's not exaggerated to a level where it seems over the top and complete bullshit. It's done. You can do things. Women can do things right if it's written correctly, and it's not.
and yeah, exactly.
It's not done in a DI.
I like how Zim was shocked here because apparently she did have some kind of training, like from like a local dojo, you know, or something, like to be able to.
Yeah.
He had to be taken aback and go, okay, so this woman knows some tactics. I'm going to have to step it up.
And I like
They
this.
also
If
get
you
their
notice,
arms, decapitated just as, like everybody else. So
Yeah.
the women are equal; they get equally decimated.
if you look here, Johnny is smirking. He's smug about this. It's like, yeah, you've got knocked out. I knew it would happen, and he's taking some satisfaction in the fact that she's got choked out. So so this is Ace. He's a bit of a wannabe, played by Jake Busey. You can't tell he's a Busey, can you? At all?
Oh yeah.
No, not at all.
Sausage.
Oh, no,
Got it,
no.
No
sausage.
dead giveaways
Wait,
whatsoever.
what? No,
What's it
no.
thinking? What's it doing? Buttered sausage. That's his dad, sorry. So he cuts in line, and Johnny calls him out. But if you notice, Zim is taking it all in. He's like, let's see where this goes. Can you handle yourself? If you notice, he's picking out potential star players. He's examining every single one of these privates. He's checked their privates.
Look at the shape of his head. He's like a male Leslie Headland.
Don't go there. I don't like hearing that name. It's a price I'm not willing to bear. If you don't mind. So anyway,
Welcome to
reason for that.
punditry. You're going to have to hear names you don't like.
True. So anyway, next day they're doing like a Krypton Factor assault course, and Johnny and I can't remember who the other person was. Was it the smug little shit or was it Ace? I think it was Ace, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They get knocked in the mud, and who's knocked them in the mud? It's Dizzy. She's quite happy about that, and it's a good little fun scene. It's a little bit cheesy. Then they go on to do some knife throwing exercises. And Ace says, I don't understand why we're doing all this throwing, because Ace is a bit crap at throwing a knife. And Zim's like, whoa, stop everybody. And he's going to teach everybody a lesson. And if you notice, all the lessons in this film come through pain, one way or another. So Zim pulls this knife out dead quick, and it's like, it's a good knife. Goodbye, Mr. Button. He gives it one of them.
Yes, I did notice that, but it's explained at the beginning when Rajek says he teaches that authority is only successfully implemented through violence. And
True.
This
He uses
The force
Hiroshima as
above all
an
others.
example.
Yeah.
Brute force. Was it sheer naked force always gets results over an enemy?
Yeah, and
And
this
that-
also foreshadows the finale as well.
It does. You're quite right. And Zim says this, if you disable somebody's hand, because Ace says, well, why can't you just nuke everybody? And Zim
Right.
says, you can't press a nuke on a button on a nuke if your hand is disabled. If you remove somebody's capacity to press a button or do something, you remove that action out of the situation. And yet again, another fine example and another chance for him to go, medic! Yeah!
Right.
So Johnny starts sending a few love vids to Carmen. And there was a slide of a butt cheek, but I took that out on advisement. So thank you for the advice there. You know who you are. So anyway, Carmen's watching this and everybody's taking the mick and having a good laugh at Johnny's expense, trying to embarrass him. But Carmen just thinks it's hilarious. Johnny's not going to find it hilarious when he gets a reply. But
Right.
Carmen runs into a shuttle with Amy Smart, of all people. Yes, Amy Smart is in this movie. I like Amy Smart. Was she in one of the crappy Garfield movies with that, is it Breckin Mayer? Am I
Gretchen
wrong?
Mayer, isn't it?
I don't know. I know he's the bloke who got put off his stroke by Stifler in that movie Road Trip. Right there!
I'm kind of glad that we skip all of Dizzy's basic training and just go to the interesting stuff, because I could imagine doing all the simulators would have been quite fucking boring.
Yeah, it would have been a bit of a drag, and it would have been a waste of screen time. So Carmen's cock-a-hoop because she's going to be the trainee pilot for the Roger Young, one of the ships of the fleet. I noticed as well, when they go to warp speed, I've taken a screenshot of the screen. It's quite interesting.
Her mouth looks like it's in warp speed. I'm just saying.
Yeah, she's a bit eager. She's like, pilot trainee Jimenez reporting, Captain. And this is Captain Lesbos. She's who's choking?
I'm sorry, that was funny. That was good delivery.
Yeah, well, I think that's the name, isn't it? Anyway, isn't it funny how she comes back as a different character in the sequel? I think they're a bit hard up in the casting department.
Clones.
Captain
They have
Delator?
clone technology.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So anyway, Captain's all cock-a-hoop. She's got a new trainee. Oh, but look who's training her. It's Xander. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to get me some space poon now. Ooh, yeah. So he's quite happy with himself. I think he looks a bit of a smug git. But I like this bit here. If you notice, look, they're engaging Star Drive. They've set a course for Jupiter, which is like a midway point. Kind of like, it was in Babylon 5, wasn't it? They had the Io transfer point. That's where the jump gate for Earth was in Babylon 5. So I like how they've like nicked little bits of other sci-fi shows. But I like this. Gravitic feedback. Ooh, I like that. What's that? I can't see what that one says. Field something distort. And they've got tachyon capture, which is quite interesting because some of that makes a bit of sense, even though it doesn't. So here they are. They're going into warp speed. They don't really go into too much detail. It's one of those films where you don't have to think too hard to enjoy it. The technology just works. So back in basic, Johnny's kind of made a bit of an alliance with Diz to kind of settle things. And she says, do this play from one of the football games. I don't get American football. It's just because from a different culture. But she calls a play, doesn't she, basically? If somebody wants to help me out here, somebody who understands American football at all.
Well, the fact that she was a linebacker, during that huddle, like when I saw the position in the field, she was on the defense line, was interesting, which of course that checks out given that she had like that natural like athletic ability with her engagement with Zim, and Zim had to, step it up to defeat her. So it's like, it's interesting because, that's another element of a lot of the things that are happening in the real world with, hey, let's put women in sports. But the difference here is that she still is a woman and not pretending not to be a woman. And so.
Yes, we'll not go there, but I know exactly the point you're making, and it's a valid one too. So she says she calls a play, and Johnny goes and does it, obviously, because it's something they've practiced quite well. And this is a game of capture the flag, and Johnny does capture the flag. And Ziv's quite impressed, and he says, give him a squad, see what he can do. So then there comes like a bit of a settlement, because Johnny says, thank you, I couldn't have done it without you. And he says, how'd you like to, be my underling in a management capacity? And she's like, yeah, she's quite up for it. She still loves Johnny, of course she does. So anyway, there's a mail call, and look, there they go. They use mini discs inappropriately again. Yeah. So
but at
anyway,
least the screen is flat.
Yeah.
Well, did the GameCube use those little discs?
They did indeed. Yeah, mini CDs. So Carmen sends Johnny a message.
Dear
from
John, if you will.
Yeah, or Dear Johnny. A message from Jupiter. So they're in orbit of Jupiter. And she basically says, I want to go full military, full career. That means, adios muchachos.
Which is really weird because she spends the rest of the movie bumping into him every 10 minutes.
Funny that. Flav's come out with a good one here. I'm going to put this one on the screen. Flav says in the chat, welcome to Dumpsville, population U, son. He's here all week.
That's why she's lying. She's doing it for Xander.
Well, yeah, there is that.
And in the background, Dizzy's going, oh, yes.
She's going, giggity.
I get to nail the quarterback. All right.
So she's
giggity.
She's sad for Johnny in a way, but this is just another reason for her to hate Carmen just that little bit more. So next day they're having a live fire exercise, And I like that. Just notice the lapels there. Very reminiscent of a certain army in the 1940s. If you know what I mean.
They're not very subtle about it, are they?
They're not.
You think that's subtle? You wait for the military intelligence to turn up.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Are we the baddies?
You couldn't spell it out any harder than a little bit later on.
Yeah.
So this is a live fire exercise. These pop-up targets are only firing like laser blanks at them, but enough to hurt them. But the recruits themselves are actually using live ammunition. And then Farmer Dumbshit says, I've got a problem with my helmet. I said helmet, but never mind.
Live fire exercise is no time for a wank.
No, it isn't. Not even a cheeky one at that. So Johnny says, show me your helmet. So Farmer Boy Julie shows him his helmet, and it's obviously faulty. But it's not going to end well, is it? If you think about it. No. So he's there getting his helmet checked by Johnny, and one of the other recruits gets zapped in the back. And this leads to an interesting picture. Look at that. I purposely paused the film there when I took the screen grab. Obviously, that's a prosthetic, that's a practical effect. But couldn't they have made him look as though he wasn't boz-eyed?
Yeah.
Because he looks...
It's only on screen for a very small fraction of time.
I know.
It's like it's the same with Scanners, where the guy's head blows up. You see it's actually him, and then it just suddenly cuts to what is an obvious dummy that explodes. But it's on screen for such a short amount of time, you barely have time to register it before there's blood and brain flying everywhere.
This was just a lucky accident for me. Yeah. Where I took this screenshot. But he looks like Charlie Sheen's giving him a reach around or something. Just the look on his face. But I won't go into the gory details. It all goes a bit pear-shaped. And we need a medic. So it's basically, I reckon they'd use the same sort of like body bit that they used for Murphy in RoboCop and just stuck a different head on. Yeah. So anyway, he's screaming, medic! But Johnny's not going to get away with this because he was fiddling with somebody else's helmet in a live fire exercise. Major Dean Norris. We'll call him Major Tony. And the reason, because he's Tony from Total Recall.
Yes.
So he says, you're going to get punished for this. And there's the other recruit who actually fired the gun that killed Farm Boy. She takes a walk down Washout Lane. So Johnny's offered 10 lashes, and not the good variety. This is corporal punishment, isn't it? At its finest. So he says, bite down on this, son. Don't ask me how I know, but he knows, he's been there. So he gets 10 lashes publicly in front of everybody. Yet again, they're reinforcing the whole thing of discipline.
Yes.
There are consequences for your actions. You will pay. Whether you like it or not, you will pay.
But it also mirrors what happened in real life, because the US Navy used to practice flogging for 75 years with a cat of nine tails.
Yeah. Oh, I think it meant like selling stuff, but never mind.
No, so this was actual discipline that was in place at one point.
I tell you what would be a worse punishment these days if the Navy brought back some kind of flogging punishment. Get that David Dickinson out to bore him to tears. Lovely, lovely, cheapest chips. Oh, look at this.
I've met him. He's a
god.
His skin is a kind of mix of orangey purple, and he's just really rude.
I can imagine it. And does he smell of cat piss by any chance?
No, but it's sort of like just kind of weird old person smell, I suppose. Anyway, back to the movie.
Mothballs. Mothballs and piss.
I've never smelled mothballs, but I can assume it is kind of what they smell like.
They're thoroughly pleasant. I highly recommend it. So anyway, Carmen's on the night shift. Carmen's on the night shift, and she's that shit hot. She can basically put new coordinates in and beat the computer. And her course is optimal. So Linda comes in and says, why have you set a new course? She says, it's better than the course you put in. But they start feeling the pull of a gravitational object in space.
Yeah, and so maybe the computer knew about that and was like, well, we're not going to take the most efficient route because that would be stupid.
Yeah, but that'd be too obvious. You
May
know?
I? Oh
then-
dear, a woman takes the wheel and suddenly we're about to crash.
Yeah, if she hadn't have optimized the course, they wouldn't have hit the
No.
meteor.
They wouldn't.
And it's
It's
also a bit of insubordination because she isn't.
Well, she's
Yeah. Trainee,
broke
yeah.
the chain of command. Instead of doing it by the book, she's done her own thing. She seems to think she can get away with stuff. I mean, I hate to say this, Jill, with a lady on the channel. Please excuse me for my obvious sexism, but I've got to say it. But when you let a chick drive, things go pear-shaped.
I would want to argue with you, but in the 2 accidents I've had, both the idiots that hit me were women, and it wasn't neither of them were my fault.
Well,
according to the police,
we'll have to agree to disagree. But just look when Councillor Deanna Troy took the wheel.
Yeah.
What happened there? Prime
Crashed
example. Yeah.
But look at who put her. I blame Riker for that because Riker put her there when he had lots of other pilots who would have been a better choice.
And then she went. Oh, Jesus. Do me a favor. Do not do that ever again. Because that just. Oh, my God. I felt like I'd had a rake shoved up my arse sideways. Oof.
My apologies. I just thought
Alright.
you two were getting into a bit of a spat. Figured it was an ideal.
No. We'll have none of that here. We'll have no trouble. This is a local shop for local people. So, anyway, it turns out that Xander and Carmen have basically, well, Carmen, shall we say, I'm being polite here. Carmen's put the ship in the path of an asteroid. Targeting asteroid. Sorry, I had to do that for the Star Trek fans out there.
Well,
If you know, you know.
she gets away with everything she does because Xander is thinking with his not with his
Johnson
brain. Yes.
Well, true. Time to impact. 20 seconds. I love that bit. I just love that wormhole scene. Anyway, moving on. Different franchise. Carmen leaves it right up to the last minute. She gets the emergency thrusters up, smashes the glass, and leaves it right to the last minute. Now, she'd have hit those thrusters when she saw the fucking thing coming. She could have just gone straight around it, but no. She does a good job, and they lose the comms tower. So they lose all communications, which is, you know, when you're in a wartime theatre, you don't want to lose communications because battles are lost and won on communication. And the captain's like, it's all right. That'd be right. Yeah, you can buff it out. That'll be fine.
I never liked Dave in communications anyway.
Yeah. Well, he's dead. They're all dead, Dave. What? Even Peterson? Dave, they're all dead. What? Even Kachansky? Gordon Bennett.
Everybody.
So, anyway, Carmen's like, she can't... She craps gold in this film. Everything she does, she can do no wrong. It's like, oh, well, you've just, like, destroyed half the ship. But it's all right. Carry on. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a fucking medal while we're at it. And then she's so cock-a-hoop about everything.
Can you bring up that chat from Flav?
Where? What time? Hang on a minute. This one. Is it this one?
That's the one.
Do you want to read it out then, see?
The Flav in the chat says the impact with the meteor probably redirected it towards Argentina, so she not only dumps the poor lad, she murders his family.
Oh, well done, Flav. That is absolute comedy gold right there.
The dominoes have fallen.
Yeah, ain't it just? So Johnny rings his mum and dad up and says, oh, you know, it's wheels have come off. You were right. How are we doing with those tickets for Zagman Beach? And his dad's like, what? Who's that? Eh? And they lose the picture. And it goes off. And then transmission terminated. But that asteroid, how fast was it going?
Didn't
Carmen's
AT&T go bankrupt? Sorry. Or are they still going?
Well, just sort of putting that aside to 1 minute.
Sorry.
You know, this asteroid, how fast is it going through space? Carmen has been on that ship at warp speed for a while, and they're just cruising merrily along. And I don't think insects could travel faster than light. So anyway, Johnny's just about to leave.
They should have spaceships. They really should.
Oh, that would... I don't know. That'd be a hard sell, really, wouldn't it?
It would.
But if the asteroids are being catapulted through warp space, it may just come out of a wormhole near Earth and crash straight into
Wormhole, insects, I like it.
Maybe they know about, like, certain areas of space that have, like, heavy, like, black hole presence or heavy gravitational areas, and they just understand that Jovian catapults are a thing, and they're like, well, if we just poop one out in this general direction, it's going to veer around at like really high speed to like
they slingshot it like in Star Trek 4, so it goes round a black hole, goes back in time, so it arrives at the planet before it leaves.
Pretty much. I mean, how else would you get past those big guns in orbit?
There you go, we've solved it.
Unless, of course, we did it ourselves.
No, yes.
Swappers is talking about false flags. You'll set him off.
Wouldn't be the first time that a military regime has, bended the narrative a little bit to be able to get the resources that these bugs are occupying.
Oh, yeah.
Avatar.
Time and time again throughout history. And do you know what makes me sort of do a bit of a double take? The ginger-haired girl. She kind of reminds me of Dietrich in Aliens. I know it's not her, but she kind of comes across like
it's got the same sort of 90s lesbian look that Dietrich had.
It's a look that takes some licking, and it's a classic.
Do the Martians have two sexes like we do?
I don't know. Thursday and Friday. Probably. So anyway, tragedy in Buenos Aires, where all these guys are from, basically. Oh dear, 8.7 million dead. It is a shame. Luckily, it's a fictitious number of deaths. So Rico Zim wants to get knocked back down to private so he can go and fight, but they won't let him because he's got to train the next batch of fresh meat. Like that guy said at the beginning, fresh meat for the grinder. So, he says the only way you can get yourself in action is if you get yourself busted down to private. Johnny says, I need to take back my resignation. He says, I'm from Buenos Aires. And the major says, well, we can't do that. You've already signed it. If we did that, it'd be illegal and it'd be against the law. And Zim says, is this your signature? And Johnny goes, yeah. And he goes, no, it doesn't look like it to me. And he rips up Johnny's resignation. So he gets to essentially stay in the war. So the federal news goes on to report about what happens in Buenos Aires. And it's war. This time it's war. And this is Sky Marshal Deans. And he's got this amazing plan to go to war and end the arachnid threat. And it's going to work out really well for him. Like in all films, this is yet again a species affected by hubris. They think they're going to do great things and they're going to beat these insects because they're just bugs, right? But no, we find out soon. We get our arses handed to us. And Carl ends up in one of these infomercials. He says, if you're going to take out an arachnid, you take it out at the brainstem, then it can't attack you then. Would you like to know more? I like that.
Yes, please, Dookie Himmler.
Here we go.
My favorite ad.
This mother is just absolutely wetting herself with joy that her kids are squashing bugs. So it's like, do your part. Yet again, targeting children. How do you instill that loyalty and desire to serve, the industrial military complex? You get it in at an early age. So killing bugs, you make it a game. So these kids are basically squashing cockroaches. Don't they actually sort of automatically breed if you kill them anyway? Don't you squash the eggs out of them and the hatch? Or is that just a myth?
Thanks, Trev. Now I'm not going to sleep tonight.
No, you're right. If there's one, the next day there will be about 1 million.
So we go on to this countdown to victory. We're catching up with ourselves now. If you remember at the beginning, we go back a year, and there's this guy, this reporter, And there's always one twat in the background. Have you always noticed when there's a TV camera, it's like, hello, Mum. Hi, Mum. Yeah, there's always somebody there ready to stick the head in.
I'm on TV.
And Johnny Rico's like, I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all. And that's a great soundbite, because this guy just looks at the camera and goes, yeah. And like, was it you, Z, or who said they keep bumping into each other?
Oh, me, yeah.
Yeah. And there we go. They bump into each other again. Johnny bumps into Carmen.
In a galaxy that big.
Yeah. And Xander's with her. Who knew? And Johnny's like thinking the worst. And Johnny's like, he's getting touted and taunted by Xander. And he's like, well, the infantry don't breed dummies. If I hit you, I'm looking at a court martial and probably a firing squad. I can't hit an officer. And he says, rank's not an issue here. He says, let's go for it. So Johnny gives him a good old slap. Proper bitch slaps him. I've prematurely gone forward there. I didn't notice this initially. But look at Kathy Griffin. That's a right look on her face there.
Right in the middle.
Yeah. I did not know she was in this film.
Oh my God, a chin check.
Did you know Kathy Griffin's in Battle Beyond the Stars? She's one of the extras. The Ikea, the farming community. She's one of the members of that farming community at the beginning. This doesn't look like a fight. This looks like Johnny doing something rather wrong.
Make love, not war.
Come on, boy. Wee! Gonna make you squeal. You're gonna pray for me, boy. Anyway, I'm digressing. No tangents tonight. I'm trying not to go down the tangents. So this looks like he's going in for the nuts, but I don't think his arm's long enough unless he's got go-go gadget arms. So they have a good old rumble anyway. And it's it gets broken up. And look who's there, straight in to help Johnny. Dizzy's there. And the rest of the mobile infantry have kind of got his back too. And Xander's only got Carmen. Oh dear. Do you feel sorry for Xander? He's only got Carmen.
He hadn't brought his straw yet, but that'll happen later.
Yeah. I hope it's a paper straw, recycling and all that. So anyway, they all decide to get tattoos. And Ace is such a twat. He pours whiskey onto his laser tattoo. That guy, he needed nutting in a big way. But they've all got the same tattoo anyway. Death. Or does it say death and honor or death and glory? I'm not quite sure.
Death from above.
Oh, right. And somebody want to remind me, is this this first attack on Clendathanu?
No, this is Planet P.
I thought
P was the next one.
Was the outlier.
Is this Clendathu?
Yes, I think they assault Clendathu head on.
Yeah. So they're going to take on Clendathu. Planet P's next. And it's all dropships. It's all very reminiscent of Aliens, I thought.
Imperial Guard right here, man.
Doesn't that kind of look like the interior of the Sulaco?
It does a bit, yeah.
The Bay interior, yeah.
Bay 12, please.
I don't know. But the special effects are just so fantastic in this movie.
Well, half the budget went on practical effects and CGI, so it damn well ought to look good.
They hold up really well, yeah.
This is like the Normandy landings in space.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. You got to admit, though, the CGI is outstanding on this film. And a lot of it is just, it's underrated because it got slated like it did. You know, people missed the fact that so much love and attention went into the detail of the models and the CGI, but it had a budget of 55 million for effects. It should look the mutts nuts. If you think about it, they paid for it. They want the best they can. Yeah, but I love it. So anyway, all the fleet comes under attack from these big arse beetles what fire out blue plasma. That is weird. How can evolution produce a creature that is designed primarily to attack things in space? Isn't that clever? Is that evolution or?
Yeah, I'm guessing it is because they've also used a seeding method to populate other planets as well. So I think this is something that they've developed over many, many centuries, is the ability to seed themselves throughout the stars. But if that is encased in a ball of plasma, they could essentially be shooting jizz at the ships.
Yeah,
I
very
was just
true.
about to say that.
Well,
Explosive jizz.
You would think that because once you see the turrets that are firing these balls of plasma, you find there's a lot of multiple different iterations and species that has coalesced and become together. It's not just one organism; it's multiple different organisms, and each of them has a function within their hive mentality. To operate in tandem, and that's why as we get to the end of the third act, we get to see said brain shake. We understand that the probably at the very tippity top is something that eats intelligence, quite literally. And so,
if you think about it, all these creatures have like a military-based hierarchy as well.
Yeah.
Each one serves a military purpose.
If we're saying that this is effectively bug jizz, that's
you are
you
and Z are, yeah.
I am.
That's going off to seed other planets. Maybe it's bugs actually trying to escape the invasion.
That could well be.
That might be a bit of a stretch, to be fair.
It might be,
like
but
sending
the bugs
them
are
out like
afraid.
Superman.
Yeah.
Well, just get them away, get the younglings away from the people who are coming in to attack.
It's not our fault that our jizz make ship explodes.
I don't know. I don't think these creatures have any empathy or any emotional attachment apart from the drive to survive. I think it's basically like basic instincts what drive these creatures.
But maybe it's not just wanting to survive, but also wanting to colonize just as much as the humans want to.
Possibly, yeah. So to say we've got all this fantastic technology, 23rd century technology, the fleet is decimated by space beetle jizz. Thank you for that one, Z.
That's okay. I mean, they were told it was harmless lights.
Yeah, which is total rhubarb. But all these ships start getting hammered, and the Roger Young, because it's got Carmen at the wheel, it manages to steer for the most part out of the way of any real bother. It gets a bit of a slap on the wrists, but nothing majorly serious. Not yet, anyway. So anyway, we get all these guys landing on Clendathu. That's a great name for a planet. Don't you think?
I agree. Bugs didn't name it, though. We did.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Well, this is
Kill
very
anything
reminiscent
with
of Aliens
two
as well. The dropship scenes again.
Yes.
Where they're all sort of bolted down. These things, actually, these props come down and lock them in place so they can't move. Great. You were saying, Jill?
I was just saying a line. Kill anything with more than two legs.
That's right.
I like this scene as well. I thought this was really well shot, although it's over in a flash. Verhoeven went really full on with the detail, and a lot of it seemed to have just fell on deaf eyes, for want of a phrase. So these are these jizz bugs. Is that what we're calling them, Z? Jizz bugs?
Yep, jizz bugs.
Or spunky beetles?
Yes.
Well, you pick.
Yeah, spunk beetle is fine with me.
Well, I'm just thinking as well, keep looking out for the matron scene. We haven't quite got there yet, but I would like the panel to look for a scene that make you go, oh, matron, oh, sauciness. And you win a prize of picking out a film for a future Monday Night Mayhem, wherever it may end up in the week. It's to be discussed. We'll talk more about that later. We'll have a catch up with the chat at some point, but this is it's all overwhelming. But I'm enjoying it though. I don't know about you guys. Everybody enjoying it so far?
Oh yes, very much so.
Don't all break
This is
my
one
door
of my
now.
favorite.
Sorry, I'm enjoying it far too much.
Yeah.
Sarcastic twat. Anyway.
Wayfarer says cockroaches that scored.
Yeah. I like that. Swappers has come out with a classic. Jizzbugs. Isn't that a lyrics from an old Wham song?
Jizzbugs. Jizzbugs.
MC picked up on that too. Jizzabugs.
Nothing.
I'm going to shoot my load up at the starship's gonna hit explode, gonna make those humans pay, gonna jizz till the end of the day. Wait, what? Oh, go ahead.
Vegas is calling. Vegas is calling.
Well, of course, that one. That was
I like that one. So anyway, here's our space jizz or bug jizz or whatever the fudge we're calling it. But Dizzy's got a solution for that. A little bit of a nuke. I like how the nukes are just common arsenal now. They're like an RPG. You can get an RPG nuke, which is fantastic. So anyway, she fires it and it goes straight up its jizz hole just as it's about to jizz off. And this beetle, they both get nuked. Little tiny nukes. I love it. That was just great. Swapper says, Tony, that was superb improv.
That's kind of what I do on my channel. Shameless plug here.
Yeah, I don't mind. You're all welcome to give yourselves a plug. Who
Just
was
like
it?
These jizz plugs got plugged by a nuke.
Yeah. So anyway, they're all taken aghast by this nuke experience. Surely they would have done it at some level in training.
I don't think that's something you can probably do in training. You probably get told the theory, but you don't really want to launch one because you'll probably kill off the entire army.
Well, what about simulation? 38 simulated. You don't have to do it in a combat drop.
Simulation's never as good as the real thing. I played GTA great. I can't crash a car to save my life.
Oh. Oh, well. So anyway, Marines are mobile infantry, not Marines, sorry.
Yeah.
Keep getting ripped up by these arachnids. And these guys, they're still green. I mean, just look at...
matron.
No, that's not it.
Absolutely not. No.
This is softer lesbian Dietrich, but not the aliens one. She just looks like she's going, fucking jism. This is not the U matron. I like it, Z. I like your enthusiasm, but it's not the U matron moment. I like that.
God damn it.
You tried.
Maybe
Anyway, let's
next
progress.
slide.
So anyway, Dietrich, as we're going to call her now, she falls down a bug hole, and there's arachnids in there, and she gets dragged away screaming. And then the TV reporter guy, he gets taken by surprise and chomped in half, and these guys come in to rescue him. They're not the Roughnecks yet, which we don't actually get a moniker for this group of newbies, do we? But they're all pretty green. This is the first real foray into combat. So even though they've had all this great training, they're all cacking themselves because just look at Rico. He's shitting his pants. Bless him. And he's still only 18. And he's only had sex once, bless. So anyway, he shoots this arachnid. I'll stop with the character assassination. But it's still got one thing left, and it just pikes him through the leg and chucks him around a little bit. And the last thing you see just before Rico screams into the camera in pain, all these arachnids start coming out, and one of them actually eats the camera. So this is after Clondathnu. Federal Network reports about this, and there's 100,000 dead in 1 hour. And as catastrophes go in warplay, that's a pretty big ball to drop, especially when there's 10,000 people dead because of a decision made. Why, how many did I just say?
10.
Oh, bollocks. 100,000. I know what I meant. So anyway, Sky Marshal Deans, he gets basically told resign or get some lashes. And I can't remember...
He basically does what all politicians do, is go up there and go, mistakes were made.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we dropped the ball, but yes, I'm going to go away to the Bert Newsom actor retirement home. And
On a full pension.
Yeah. And I can't remember her name. It's something like Shiny Miny Hackadamwackadakitini or something.
Sky, I don't know her actual name, but Sky Marshall Maru is her character name.
Oh, right. Well, you got me on that one. I was just guessing. But hey ho.
The Hot Maru.
Yeah, that's it. So anyway, we come to another one of these extended ad breaks, and there's a bit of a political debate, social debate about bugs that think. And this guy on the left, he's the kind of bloke that you really want to punch. Just look at that face.
I reckon that's why they got him.
Don't you just want to?
Just to hate him.
I find the idea of a bug that thinks offensive.
Yeah, looking at his face is fucking offensive. Certainly putting me out. And I like how this granny can't get a word in with him, so she stomps on his foot, and he like goes, woo! Oh, great. She's got some right fucking legs on her. She's like a Clydesdale, though. Jeebus. So anyway, after Clendathu at Ticonderoga space station, or wherever the fuck it's called, I can never remember it. Anyway, she checks out on the killed in action, and she looks for Rico, and it comes up that he's killed in action. But what she doesn't know is, hey, he's in a Bacta tank of some variety, getting his leg muscle knitted back together.
I thought the repair on his leg was really clever, the way they did that.
Yeah, they just like 3D printed and knitted muscle fibre.
Especially when you consider that all the other vets that you see have got prosthetics, how medical technology has advanced during the course of war.
Maybe he's like young and fit enough to benefit from the treatment, so it's a worthwhile procedure on him. Whereas that fat old dude, it's sorry Barry, your wanking days are done, mate. Not with that robotic hand. It's got an inbuilt cheese grater. Mind you might like it, you kinky twat. But anyway, moving swiftly on. He's KIA, but he's not. So then they decide to go for Planet P.
Yep.
Yes.
And they're on the way to Planet P, but these guys get reassigned to the Roughnecks, and Ace insults this lady here by saying, "I hear the lieutenant's a real nutbuster," and she busts his nuts by knocking him down on the ground. And then here we go. Here's the nutbuster himself. Yep. Any guesses who it might be? Of course it's going to be Michael Ironside. Isn't that one of those rubber door stopper bung things, Z?
No, that's a bionic hand.
No. That white bit at the top.
On the end?
Yeah.
No, I think that's one of the things you got on the bottom of roller skates.
I don't know. It looks like one of them door stoppers like my grandma used to have on the back of a door. Anyway,
not the ones that go...
No,
not the spring ones.
No.
Not the springs, no.
So look who the lieutenant is. It's Mr. Radchek. So this outfit, Radchek's Roughnecks.
Marines of the mobile infantry, yeah.
Yeah.
They're the guys that are sent in first for sweep and clears before the boots on the ground come in and mop up. They're the Marines.
And Johnny and Dizzy are like, hang on a minute. That guy used to be our PE teacher. Or was he RE? I'm not quite sure what he was doing.
Wouldn't it be great? 5 years from now, you're fighting in the Ukraine war and you bump into your history teacher.
Yeah.
What are you doing here, Mr. Watkins?
Could you imagine that, just about to shoot somebody? Maitland, is that you? Sir? You'd just shoot him anyway, wouldn't you, probably? Oh, dear. I'm getting a bit hot. I don't know about you guys. So, yeah, I need more slides. Let me just... does anybody like to talk about what we've just seen there?
I would like to provide a tactical assessment.
You go for it.
Because this is the reason why I jumped on this, is because if you look at it from the perspective, you'll notice that it's a very Zepp Brannigan-esque wave after wave of my own minute them kind of mentality. While they are, they're discussing the tragedy of 100,000. You got to remember what year this is. This is in the 24th century, and 100,000 to them might very well be 10,000 to us as far as a population ratio. So, no, this was a tactical maneuver to just see how wave after wave of our own men could handle a physiologically superior force. The other thing that is of note is the severe lack of any kind of mobile armor. There isn't any tanks. There isn't any vehicular support. There isn't any shelling. There isn't anything that is providing any kind of support to the advance. It was just the advance. They've put all of their best effort into providing the best armor, providing the easiest to use to the most efficient weapons to put in the hands of a combat soldier.
I
You know,
haven't read it
outfitting-
myself, but I
Yeah.
heard that in the book they're supposed to have power armor. And
Yeah, there is power
jetpacks.
armor, and there is power armor and stuff. But he decided to just, like I said, take a something straight out of the Imperial Guard. Now, the Imperial Guard has tanks in Warhammer 40K for sure. In fact, we rely on our tanks a lot. But the wave after wave of our own men, they're playing a game of attrition. They took a poke at just how many of these enemies would be on this planet, how effective the hive was. This wasn't just, hey, I just made a mistake and sent 100,000 people to their deaths. It was, hey, we don't know what it's like to fight on their home turf. Let's find out. And we're going to use a tactic that is well known throughout all of our forms of warfare, and that is, as Rapjack said in the first act of the film, force, violence. We wanted to display how big our stick was, only to find out that their stick was bigger. And we had to basically fall back and regroup. So now they're actually providing more modern tactics. That's what the Roughnecks are there for. They're Marines. They're going in. They're getting the sweep and clear, Sabo. They're the elites that are going to be taking the enemy fire before we send our boots into the ground again and then lose 100,000 more men. And
Also, good night to MC in the chat.
Oh, is he going?
Great night, MC.
Oh, my chat's gone off the screen. Yeah, night, mate. Take care. Looking forward to having you on stream again another time. Big Trouble in Little China next Monday, by the way. Anyway, on Planet P this time, they're using the smart move. Radchek wants basically these guys napalm him before he lands any of his people down on the ground, which is a smart move. Very reminiscent of the Tank Busters. And Rico gets to play with the nuclear dildo this time. Oh, you're going to love this one, Bug. And I love how he fires it and it goes straight down that hole. Not bad for his second go on a hole, is it, really?
Use the force, Rico. Use the force. Let
the
go.
design of these arachnids as well, really, really clever. If you think about it from a genetic perspective and a development perspective, they really are quite good and efficient. So Rico, and he holds a goal, and he scores a blind rear because he nukes the hole and the hive, and he busts a load of bugs. But hang on a minute, there's a new kind of bug in town. Is this one of these space jizz things, or is this the... No, it's not. It's not matron. Swappers is shouting matron at me. No, it's not the matron moment.
Tanker bug. It's a tanker.
Yeah, I thought like acid beetle or something because they're quite acidic, these bugs, aren't they?
A bit like napalm.
Yeah. The thing I like about this tank, though, is that it exemplifies the kind of biological ability that a living, quote, tank, end quote, would have. Instead of, shelling something, it's actually relying on chemical or heat weaponry to come in close, Like there has been, tanks in the past that, would just have big flamethrowers or just spitting out some kind of, the gas of the week, the toxin of the week. Kind of warfare. So it's another Warhammer 40K reference with that.
Nice. Melv, consider it done, my friend. Melv would like to get in on Big Trouble in Little China next week. I think I'd quite enjoy that. Drew Gordon says tanker bug. And another comment here from Flav. Flame-throwing tank. Yeah, it pretty much is. So let's crack on, shall we? I'm digressing far too much. Like Mr. Kipling. So anyway, these things squirt out this horrid juice. Have you noticed there's a lot of excretions in this film?
Yep.
Do every time I try... No, swappers, just give over.
That's my flapping hand. Why?
These are great screen grabs.
Thank you. I tell you something, it took me ages. I've been producing this for quite a few days, and I was really up to the wire. I was still doing screenshots, like 2 minutes before we came to air, which is, it's always worth it. You've got to have that bit of I don't know. I like to put a lot of effort into these streams, and I hope it comes across. You know, you've got to have, if people are prepared to watch something, you've got to make it worthwhile to watch. That's my sort of ethos, anyway. Anyway, Rico gets this idea about jumping on top of this bug, and he uses his skills from football days, and he shoots himself a nice little hole in the back of this bug, which is weird because wouldn't that bug be full of all that like acid? But just look at Radchek here. He's getting moist watching Rico do this. You know, he's just like, oh yeah, Rico. I wonder if you can give me an hand job later.
Well,
sounds
the
like
other
Denise
lady
Richards.
just lost her arm.
Yeah. So anyway, he gets a little grenade and drops it in the hole he's conveniently made inside this bug, and jumps off. And what do we get? Bug bolognese, basically.
Yum.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Now, if that creature fires its own mind, I don't know. That's a bit confusing. Having a blood the same color as the stuff you're spraying out, you know, or is that the container?
A lot of
container.
I was going to say a lot of creatures that have sort of like, you know, venomous and poisonous spit. It's not actually venomous or poisonous until it's mixed just before ejection, because they run the risk of actually poisoning themselves if there was vast quantities of it stored in their body.
So essentially, what you're saying is it only becomes a threat once it's ejaculated.
When it is ejaculating, that is when it becomes potent.
Yeah, maybe there's some sort of chemical reaction that happens upon ejection.
But even still, we also, this is the first iterance of what a Federation grenade can do. We can be under the assumption that the Federation grenade is enough to take out a squad or tank bust a crew inside a tank, or in this instance, you know, take out, you know, the abdomen of a bug the size of a tractor trailer. So, I mean, there's that to consider too.
So Rico's looking quite pleased with himself, even though he's covered in tomato soup. I bet any money that's what they did. They just like chucked cans of tomato soup on him. And Radchek says, "Hey Rico, where did you learn to do that?" And he went, "Back in school, sir. I was captain of the football team." "Oh yeah." And then he promotes Rico. And then he promotes Dizzy to be his underling again, because he did offer it Ace, and Ace was like, nah, I've been there, done that, and I'm a bit of a doink, so I'm just here for comic relief. I've read the script. So Radchek says, you know, for my squad, he says, I expect the best and I give this best. And he's got a couple of like containers, and there's kegs in there and footballs and musical instruments. Ace gets a fiddle to play with. He's on the fiddle. Yeah. Johnny's got
matron.
No, you've ejaculated too early, Tony.
No.
Unfortunately. I've got to get me one of them.
Did you actually know that Jake Busey learned to play the violin for this movie?
Really?
Yeah, that is actually him playing.
The more you know. Would you like to know more? It's a Z fact.
Mm-hmm.
So he tells Rico here not to pass up opportunities. So basically, he's giving him the nod. He's like, you know, she's moist for you. Go and tap it. Because she might be dead tomorrow. Make the best of an opportunity while you're still able to. And he does. And he decides, well, I'll tell you what, yeah, fair enough. You're a bit ginger, but yeah, let's go for it anyway. I'm feeling a bit rutty. So
That'll be fun.
Not just once, twice.
Yeah. So she says, look at her. She is fucking aggressive here. She's like, I've been fucking wanting this. Get your fucking cock out now. Oh, dear. Yeah, she's a little bit... and don't forget, guys, keep looking out for the Matron moment. Yeah. Now I'm doing a bit of foreshadowing here.
Yeah, I was close. I was very close. I knew.
Well, I know, but you shot too early. Which is a shame, really.
Terrible.
Oh, he's here all week. Well, she looks quite. She's in it there. She wants a bit of Johnny 5-upper.
Inches.
Anybody?
Oh,
there
matron.
it is.
Hey!
Oh, you have it, Lee.
That's the matron moment. Well done, Z. Well played, everybody. This is your Uranu Uvavu moment, Z. What would you like as a film on a future Monday Night Mayhem?
See if you can guess it.
Blues Brothers.
Brokeback Mountain.
I'm Castor Troy. Woo!
Oh, Face Off. Okay, consider it done. We'll do that in, let's see, I'm just looking in me. Yeah, 5 weeks, though. Is that okay?
That's fine with me. Sign me up.
Right, 5 weeks. That's because producer Brian has been coaching me and teaching me the art of being prepared. Even though I prepared like chuff, I still fretted over everything and still managed to be late and, matron, nearly dropped the ball somewhat, but we got there in the end. It's like, who's under those covers with you? Eh? I think he was expecting it to be a fella. And he was quite shocked when it was Dizzy. But it was the matron moment. So anyway, they go to this outpost on... is this Planet P, this one?
Yes, still
Planet P.
Yeah. And if you look, a lot of these people have got big holes in the head. Yeah. Not so many arachnids dead. Although Rico finds a new type of bug, but there's not really mentioned, is it? It's like, they've never seen this kind of bug before. Why is this one here? But they don't really go into too much detail about it.
They were dissecting those in the.
Were they? Were they the same ones?
Yeah, they're ones that act
thought
as the
so,
feed for the brain bug. Yeah, they're the laborers. Yeah. Yeah,
I didn't think they were so prevalent, to be fair. But I did sort of think, and I'm like, am I sure? And I'm like, no. So anyway, Radchek finds this guy here, massive hole in his head. You got to admit, though, when Paul Verhoeven goes for like gross gore and that as a practical effect, that's amazing. That is really well done. That's convincing.
It absolutely is. But he does go over the top in his films. Just to give you some numbers, 300,000 rounds were shot in this film. And there were 1,400 extras, 17 gallons of fake blood, and a body count of 256.
Nice.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Fucking hell. Oh, you don't happen to work in radio at all, do you?
You'll find out if we do our plugs at the end of the show. I live in the golden age of radio.
Yes, I circle around that kind of neighborhood. I'm kind of getting the vibe from you. So anyway,
deja vu.
Here's Marshall Bell. Yeah, a bit of deja vu there, thanks to Restream and its way of handling files. Nice one. StreamYard, offer me a deal. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Marshall Bell, or General, I can't remember his name now, but he comes out the closet. He comes out the closet. And he's a bit of a mess, really. And, Radchek's
General,
like,
General
pull
Owen.
yourself together, General. What's his name, Jill?
General Owen.
There we
He's
go.
crazy. He's gone crazy because
Yeah,
of this.
it's gone a bit bonkers, hasn't he? So the arachnids start to come in force towards this fort. I mean, they've already been there once. So guns are blazing. They've got like loads of tower guns. And he's going, oh, no, we're all going to die. Oh, somebody stop me, help me. And Radchek offers to shoot him.
This distress call was a trap.
Yeah. But anyway, these tower guns take out this flying insect. And it doesn't even move. It just becomes a nice little splotch on the ground.
Did you notice that the guy that the bugs took out first as they approached the base was their communications officer? It was kind of like what we said earlier about the first way to disable your enemy is to disable their communications. So that was the real big first indicator of actual intelligence in the bugs.
It's the guy who gets took up on that precipice and Radchek kills him and he says, I'd expect the same if it was me.
Yep. That was their comms officer.
Yeah. So Rico calls in for reinforcements, tells him it's been a bit of a shit show, and can you send your craziest pilot? A bit of foreshadowing there again. It's like a J.B. Priestley thing, isn't it? All this foreshadowing. So Crazy Pilot arrives. It's like a bit of a space Uber. And out comes Xander, showing a bit of backup. You notice how these guns are very reminiscent of pulse rifles.
They are.
Very much so.
Yeah.
M5
And anyway,
3.
just as they're getting rescued, Radchek gets pulled down into a ground attack from one of these beetle bugs, I assume. And he says to Rico, you know what to do. So Rico's like, reluctantly, yeah, okay then. And he takes Radchek out. And then Dizzy throws a grenade at this. It's one of those acid bugs again.
Yep.
And straight in its mouth and takes it out. And if you
Hell
notice,
of a good arm, I'll say that.
yeah. Well, Rico did comment she'd got a good right arm on her.
Yeah.
He was walking funny for hours. But if you notice, there's no bugs about now, which kind of where did it come from? Kind of moment, because Johnny shouts to Dizzy, "Look out!" And as she comes running, there's a regular old arachnid right behind her, and it gets her. It skewers her twice. She's like a kebab on a Saturday night. She's got two skewers up her, and not in a good way. So they all start firing, and then it's funny that Dizzy's getting ragged around by this arachnid. So what does Rico start doing? They all start shooting at her to get. It's a bit weird, isn't it? He's trying to take her out.
Not at the brain stem. Yeah.
Nowhere near the brain stem. So, yeah, they kill the bug. And what's the one thing? If you get a puncture wound of any variety, what's the first thing they say? Don't do what?
Oh, yeah.
Don't pull it out.
Pull it out.
Yeah.
And what does Johnny do? The dopey twat. He pulls it out. So, like,
It's
Xander's
serrated on one edge. That's going to do more damage.
Yeah. So another one of these bugs breaks through the defences at this fort. So they try and get everybody on board, and Xander shouts to the tower crew to come along. But no, it's tomato soup time. These guys are toast. And everybody manages to get away. And Dizzy's dying remark, at least I got to have you, Johnny. What a way to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right.
So Johnny's not very happy. And he's like, I want this planet toasting. And she's like, oh, no, we can't do that. We're doing a mass recall. And they get back to the Roger Young. And they do a little bit of a funeral for Dizzy. And they eject her out into space. It's nice
Star
that.
Trek.
Yeah, like all naval traditions, the burial at sea, whether it be sea or space, it's always a similar fashion in these science fiction films. Graham, what do you think? Because you've been very quiet tonight.
I have. It's just, I do like the movie. It's nice to hear other people's opinions on it, because obviously I've effectively only really watched it by myself, so I haven't actually spoken to people about it. It's nice to hear, differing views, and if I have something interesting to say, I shall join in.
Okie dokie.
So I think it's interesting we get just the one funeral when there's been 100,000 deaths, but of course Dizzy is the most important. So
Yeah, but the rest of the deaths were only day players, and they're only extras, so
Yeah, they weren't named.
no. It's how it goes, though, in
There
Hollywood.
probably was too many of them was turned into mincemeat to properly inter into a coffin and then throw out in the void.
There's not enough. There's not enough left to send back. Bless them.
It could be like the what's it called, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, where they just effectively picked a single soldier from the many that were dead on the battlefield, and then said he is buried in honor of every soldier that died.
Yeah, that's a good take.
Yeah. So Carl turns up out the blue, and these guys have only been in the military for what? How long would you say they've been in the military for? Because can't be no more than a couple of months.
Well, they've been
it's over a year.
Yeah,
they said, a year.
Oh yeah, of course it works.
Yeah,
It went back a year, but isn't it funny? The analogy I'm making is they've only been in the military 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and Carl's a colonel already.
It's because he learned how to manipulate humans. He basically took out his superiors by making them die on the toilet. Come on.
But we were talking about uniforms, and somebody said something about a uniform coming up later.
Yes.
Go for it.
Flav has properly labeled the rank.
Upper Doggy.
Iron Sky moments. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Man in the High Castle here.
It's very SS, isn't it?
So, sir, are we the baddies? If you've ever seen that.
Do we have some waffle waffles for breakfast? Yeah.
Exterminating.
So Carl says, sorry about what happened and all. The probability of survival for Planet P was very low. I'm sorry it was your unit, Johnny. And now Johnny is essentially Radcheck because he's been promoted to lieutenant. And he's doing the old man routine. So let's say he's 19 and he's doing the old man routine. A 19-year-old lieutenant. Well, that's pretty good. But saying that, Carl's a 19-year-old colonel. And he says, welcome to the Roughnecks. And what's his name? It's not Wallace, is it? Oh,
Watkins. Sugar Watkins.
Watkins, that's it.
Do you know who that is? That's Seth Gilliam, who played Father Gabriel Stokes in The Walking Dead.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, good shout there, is he? I like that.
Really young one. I used to watch The Walking Dead all the time, but yeah, quite liked his character.
And he goes, ooh, Rico's Roughnecks.
Hoorah.
Hoorah, giving it some of that.
The Marines, yep.
Like Homer said, Semper Fudge. Meanwhile, up in space, the fleet are getting decimated again by the amazing space jizzing bugs. This time,
they've gotten better.
Yeah. Planet P obviously needs more protection than Clendathu. Or Clendathu. I'm probably saying it wrong. I don't give a shit at this point. So this time the fleet are proper getting their asses kicked. They're probably a little bit closer. The Roger Young gets struck and it gets split in half. And there's an awful scene where loads of people get sucked off into space.
Yep.
Which is really unfortunate. There's nothing worse than getting sucked off into space.
I know. Sucked off in the wrong way. It's terrible.
That's a vacuum for you, isn't it? So Captain Lesbo says, right, abandon ship. And Carmen says, where? And she said, no, it's not a group. It's just get your ass off the ship. And there's this unfortunate moment where, typical fashion, in an emergency, a woman has to trip over in a film. And she ends up on her back. Not saying anything there. Moving on. And there's an unfortunate incident with the door. It won't shut, but she's got to split.
Yeah. I'll give it to you. There you go.
Thank you. But I'm here all week. So everybody starts abandoning ship. And the ones next to them aren't so lucky because there's a bit of a jolt and it comes off the little rails. But Xander and Carmen manage to make it out. Of course they do. And I like this bit. This reminded me of Jedi. You know, the last bit where the Falcon's getting out of the blast range of the Death Star. I thought it was very reminiscent of that, with like the flames chasing behind him. But then again, it's become an overused cliche in science fiction films. The perilous escape with a ton of flames up your arse. It has become a bit of a trope that's overly used. Yeah. So Carmen and Xander escape, and the fleet's screwed. The Roger Young's gone. It gets struck by some jizz bug. Jizz. There they are. I think I said that right. And Carmen manages to get away. She puts a distress call out, and it comes out on Johnny's CB. She goes, 19 a Roger, and it's like, it's Johnny. Is that you, Carmen? Yeah, we've gone down with the ship.
Fucking hell, I've not bumped into you again, have I?
Yeah, amazing coincidences. So, luckily enough, Carmen and Xander make a bit of a rum landing, and they end up crashing into the side of a mountain.
Oh, it's more of a hive, I would have said.
Yeah. But as luck would have it, they made a nice safe landing, but are they really safe? Carmen's a bit come to hither, but she soon comes round. Luckily, this pod's got a couple of guns and a few weapons on board, and I think they're going to need them because we know what's coming, don't we? Yes.
Welcome to Baskin Robbins. Yeah, I would like to try the Xander flavored shake, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an audience of one. Well done, Tony Stark. Thank you for joining us. So anyway, Carmen relays her coordinates. Xander's looking rather Terminator-esque. Eraser, not Terminator, isn't he? Holding two guns at once. But Xander gets pegged in the leg. And, Johnny's like, oh, I've got to get Carmen. He makes it a priority. Carmen gets skewered herself. And it seems to be a common theme with these guys, don't they? They like giving everybody a bit of prick. So anyway, they're looking for the brain bug on Planet P because it's alleged there's one there. And Rico sort of gets the urge to go down a different route. And he says, have I got any volunteers? And he takes a bunch of his pals with him. And then we get our first glimpse of the brain bug, which is scuttled out on the beetle things, which we're getting dissected on earlier. And Carmen and Xander are brought before the brain bug. And it's a pretty face. That is a face for radio. And it's got quite a large needlish tubule, which it uses. That front of it, where the thing came out, kind of looks like beef curtains.
Yes. I don't know which women you've been with for beef curtains like that, Trev.
Have you been to Sheffield at all?
No.
You may be able to try it. Steer clear of women from South Yorkshire.
Oh, no.
Flaps with attitude, love. So anyway.
Good God.
What? So anyway, stop it.
You're not pulling that out of nothing. Later on, we see that was clearly their intent.
Exactly.
Yes.
So anyway, brain bug's like a slim, fast shake of brains. It's lucky it doesn't attack people in this neck of the woods because it would fucking die of starvation. Trust me. I know. So Xander's getting literally his brains sucked out of him. Not many fillings, obviously good dental hygiene. And that's a proper face. That reminds me of Scary Movie. You know the jism scene in that movie? Doesn't he go like that when he pops his cork?
The Geyser, Old Faithful, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like he's noshing off the Invisible Man.
Looks like he's noshing something off. So the brain bug's not quite finished. It seems to have a voracious appetite, and it wants to have a go on Carmen. Unlike Denise Richards, she can't be that bright. She married Charlie Sheen, for fuck's sake. So she's looking all ferocious, and she's got some gusto and some spunk. And she cuts the tubule off the brain bug, much to the brain bug's chagrin. And Johnny sort of like poles in, and he's holding a nuke, and he's like going, boo. Oh, you're some kind of bug, some kind of smart bug, some kind of brain bug. He goes a bit weirdy, doesn't he, in reference to the brain bug. So that's the brain bug. Look at that. That's stunning. Stunningly ugly.
It's good to see. It's good to see that Lizzo was getting work even back then.
Oh, too soon. Terrible. Too soon. I hear she's going for a Ozempic she's doing a bargain bucket sized Ozempic, isn't she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, Lizzo. You'll get yourself in shape. Look what it did to Ariana Grande in that Cynthia Erivo, because they've been having double doses of that. I guarantee it. That's how they got so thin for, is it Wicked? Or whatever it's called?
Was Wicked, yeah. Wicked Part 1, specifically.
Good God.
I know, got there again later.
So anyway, Rico is kind of threatening this bug with the threat of a nuclear bombage. So it does one, it clears off, it gets scuttled off by its little back scuttle beetles, and the arachnids decide to attack. And Carmen, now she's changed her tune. Now she's had... it's amazing that. Surely she'd have keeled over because of severe blood loss. I mean, she got pierced through the left shoulder, for God's sake, or her right. Yeah, her left shoulder. So surely she would have suffered some kind of shock. So anyway, Watkins gets damaged and he gets left behind. He says, give me the nuke, I'll take him out. And he does a blaze of glory. And they do this mad dash. Nuke goes off. They get away. And as they go out, step out into the light, everybody's running towards one direction, not the group. And it turns out they've captured the brain bug. And who's caught the brain bug? Not only Zim. And this guy here, the general, says to Carl, a.k.a. Colonel Doogie Howser, what's it thinking, Colonel? And he puts his hand on it. And I'd be worried if Neil Patrick Harris put his hand on me and I was all roped up. I'd be afraid. Very afraid.
Mm-hmm.
You need some better sound effects. I think I can help you out with that. We'll have a chat another time. Because I'm going to be absolutely tatered by the time I've done with this. I've got to be up at 4:30. What's it thinking, Kennel? It's afraid. It's afraid. Yes, I'd be afraid too if I had a rolling Matrix 5. Okay, moving swiftly on.
Nobody saw it, so no one knows what you're on about.
Oh, God. So anyway, Carl's basically dropping... not really a hint, but Rico's like, oh, you made us look after Carmen, didn't you? Because you used your special Jedi mind trick on us, didn't you? And Carl's obviously going to take credit for it, which he is. And, Zim got himself busted back down to private, and he caught the brain bug. So no doubt he'll be getting promoted again. So they take this thing back to wherever, and they're shoving all kinds of probes. There's nothing worse than having a probe shoved in the wrong place, is there? And what the hell is this thing here? That's like Ann Summers, but that guy out of Mr. Igo a couple of weeks ago, Z.
Oh, yes, definitely.
It's like one of Mr. Igo's attachments.
Absolutely, it certainly is. I wouldn't touch the sides, though.
And this thing flies open. It flies open. And obviously, the next scene... It gets a great big honking censored over it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like Maureen from Mansfield in Reader's Wives. It's got one of those kind of... one of those... You laughed, you know. Oh, my God. Help desk, what have you been doing, sir?
Nothing.
Doesn't sound like it. Tell you what,
He might have just done something, Beavis.
Do you like meeting up at the reservoir for dogging after 9:30?
That's a very good impression of Denise Richards you got there.
So anyway, now they're all singing, all dancing. They've got a new fleet of ships. This is another advert. Obviously, I forgot to mention that when that brain bug was getting it. You'd think if that brain bug was a top secret, they wouldn't be showing it off on TV. But obviously, they're taking it as a big win. So they're kind of boasting, aren't they? Oh, we've got one in. So it's a big recruitment drive. Join up now, and you can join the ranks. They've got these new super duper guns now. That just looks like
the Lance.
It looks like some kind of bizarre sexual device. It's a space dildo. It's a space anal railgun.
It's the CF1. See, they got their weapons from Zorg Incorporated. That's one of my favorites.
I was going to say it's very Fifth Element.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a good impression of Zorg, Tony. I like
that. That's my favorite. Well, thank you.
Not bad. Not bad at all, love. So, you could sign up and lose your legs and be like our new captain of the fleet, Carmen Ibanez. And notice that the uniforms have changed. They've got darker. I wonder if that's a bit foreshadowing. Or you could be like Lieutenant John Rico. Do you want to live forever? No, because there's going to be sequels. And I like how they leave it on a positive note. And they'll keep fighting. And they'll win. Of course they will.
Of course.
And that wraps up the slides. Thoughts, everybody? Feel free to chip in and talk over one another.
The movie ended, for me, it was a really weird ending because you've got them trapped in the cave, and then the brain bug, and they fire a nuke to blow up a load of bugs, and then they get outside, and the war's over. Everyone is running around, yippee hooray! It's all like, oh, is that it?
DJ Knight wants to let Jill shoot the bugs. So, would you like to have a shot, Jill?
Well, yes, because this is going to be a series of endless wars due to the dystopian narrative at the end there. We're going to continue. The propaganda says they'll win, but that's just to make everybody sign up. Oh, the war is almost over. We might as well become a citizen and just get a free ride through being a soldier.
Yeah.
It's a shame that these films progressively get worse the further along the franchise they go. Wayfarer Project says in the chat, in a world where Argentina leads the planet, rock-chucking, sperm-squirting cockroaches threaten to exterminate humanity. Oh, I love it. Well done. Have you got a bum tish for him?
Yeah, I got him for it. I got him.
There you go, Wayfarer. He's got you back there. Oh, dear. This has been absolutely fantastic. In fact, I missed this one. Wayfarer says, Super Soaker. That's some bloody Super Soaker, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to watch this film now, say you'd never seen it, what would your initial impressions be, Jill?
My daughter's talking currently, so
Oh, we'll get back to you then. We'll let you sort
thank you.
Little Miss out. Z3POs, what would you think if you watch this for the first time now?
I would actually think it's a really good movie to start yourself off on something that I actually consider very similar to. I don't know what else I can compare it to. It's like RoboCop and other stories of around that time, and they're just gory, they're visceral, they've got messages that you can still relate to today. I mean, people are going to be talking about the Yahtzee connotations on this for years to come, aren't they? In fact, they still are this week because they announced the
the remake
reboot, isn't it? They're planning a reboot of Starship Troopers, which
No.
you know is going to star Pedro Pascal and Zendaya.
I would not like to know more.
No, me neither.
No.
I mean, this is classic. Leave it as it is.
Yeah.
Why fuck with a classic? It's
I
like
don't know.
It's like getting a pack of Sharpies at Christmas and deciding you want to draw over the Mona Lisa. Why? Why would you do that?
Acts of cultural vandalism.
Hollywood is just creatively bankrupt. That's why they have to do these kind of things, because they're so bloody desperate. They've got no material. Nobody's writing stuff. And if they do reboot this, is it gonna be woke? Is it gonna be DEI? I don't know. Is there any need?
Well,
does 2025 or 2026 need a reboot of Starship Troopers? I don't think so.
I don't think it needs Starship Troopers, but you're right. Hollywood suffers from the problem that there's no originality anymore. And the reason for that is because in the I think I've said this before, but in the olden days, it used to be something would come out in the cinemas and then 6-8 months later, it would come out on VHS or DVD. And so, the production company would get two separate loads of income, but now it goes straight to streaming. And in some cases, it comes out pretty much the same time, cinema and streaming. And so there's only sort of like a little bit of money that comes in one go, and then it just disappears. So because they don't know how much they're going to get in on that initial one, they don't want to take any risks. They don't want to release any new IPs that might not do well. And then they end up spending hundreds of millions of dollars on it, and they can't afford for it to not work. We've just seen that happen with Captain America 4, where they've spent so much money and it's done so atrociously at the box office.
Oh,
it's beyond atrocious.
Yeah.
I wrote a parody song for that film.
And that is an established franchise. Can you imagine if they spent all of that on something that no one had seen before, no one had any interest in?
I will never get that time back, and I will never forgive Marvel for that. And what was I going to say? I did have a valid point to make, and I've gone and bloody forgot. Oh, that's it. Yeah, with regard to new stuff in Hollywood, what happened to the mindset of no risk, no reward? Why aren't they trying new things? Why are they set in this mire? It's just nothing's working out. It's flop after flop after flop.
Yeah,
and they keep
it's
doing it.
all
Sounds like my
reboots and
sex life.
remakes.
I know.
There you go. I'll give you a bum tish.
I will accept your organic bum tish.
Oh, that just sounds wrong.
Well, that was the point.
Hey, and if you're watching this after the fact, after we've streamed, please do comment below what you think about anything on Starship Troopers. Did you see it the first time round? Did you watch it on VHS? Did you rent it from that dodgy video shop? What was open but never really looked open? There were some scary video shops back in the day.
Oh, there were.
Truly were.
But those were the days.
Weren't they just?
Oh, yes. Back in the day when you could rent Crocodile Dundee and end up with Leather Nuns 5.
It was always the new releases were never there. Someone always took them all before it got there.
Mm.
And there was
I
always
miss
one
video
person.
shops.
One person had a video copier that actually worked, so you'd have your own copy and then take the rented one back.
Drew
I've
Gordon
heard-
makes Sorry, Graham. Drew Gordon makes a good point here. There's 1,000 great sci-fi stories in books and 2000 AD that they could film instead of redoing another adaptation of one of 50s sci-fi novels that's been adapted many times before. And it's true that they just keep rehashing the same thing over and over again. When the talk, and I'm a bit disappointed about this, that I keep hearing rumors that they're going to do a Rogue Trooper movie, speaking of 2000 AD. And
Yeah, apparently there are.
I absolutely love Rogue Trooper. And I hope it's going to be a thing, because that would be, fantastic if they did it right.
Yes. I believe it's under development.
Is it in development hell?
I think it might be, because the Mega City 1 TV series is still in development hell. It's one of those things which I don't think's coming.
What happened to this Dread series Carl Urban says was happening? Or did he get swayed by the boys too much? Was the paycheck from the boys too much? Did Amazon lure him away from that project?
No, it's still going. It's on the roster, just underneath the Rey movie trilogy from Star Wars.
Fuck off. I do not want to see any more Star Wars. After trying to... Do you know, I must apologise to people for last Friday's Fubar Friday, because we started talking about Kathleen Kennedy and this whole ploy to keep people interested in Star Wars by faking her departure that wasn't a departure, that was never going to happen anyway, even though she's 71 and she'll probably go out of that place in a box, which is probably good news, I suppose, for some people. But, Star Wars for me is three films, and I'm happy with that. And if you have a different opinion other than that, I'm fine with that. That's entirely up to you. Star Wars is what it is to you, not for me. Star Wars for me is something different than it is for you, and I'm quite happy with that. But I'm quite happy just to have Star Wars, because that's what it was called when it came out. It was just Star Wars, not A New Hope. And then it was Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi. And I'm lucky that people have been true to the original material and have managed to scrape together a really good HD copy. They've repaired it and put it back together. So, I've got, albeit recombined versions, I've got the originals in really high quality. And I love watching those. There's not many scenes in the George Lucas rehashed versions of the original 3 films that I actually enjoy. Some of it just did not deserve to be there. Jabba Jabba Wanker? Anybody?
I believe I'm spent on that subject, but yes.
Are you referring to the 4K 7070 specialized editions?
Yes.
Aren't they beautiful?
They are sublime, aren't they? They are. When I watched them, I must admit, I had a little bit of a tear in my eye, and my youngest son said to me, he said, "Dad, why are you crying?" I said, "I'm not crying. I said, this is tears of joy. This is Star Wars."
Because George won't let the original cut go to the film archive.
No, he won't.
No.
Only special edition.
Why?
No, because George is a bit of a
prick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he considers the special editions to be the version that he wanted to.
Nobody wants to
Release.
watch
No,
Han
no.
step on Jabba's tail. It's
No.
okay. Seriously.
God. I
There's
mean,
a
it's
whole
nice to see Boba Fett in that scene, and that's the
Yeah.
only thing worthy in that scene.
Yeah.
There's a whole generation out there who will never understand the glory of hearing Yub Nub for the first time.
Job Knob, not Yob Knob.
Houdini!
And having a suitably aged Force ghost for Anakin Skywalker.
Yes,
And
yeah.
not Hayden fucking Christensen.
Who
No,
was it? Was it Sebastian Shaw?
It was Sebastian
It was
Shaw.
Sebastian Shaw, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a very famous actor. He was the... I love this about Darth Vader, because you had Dave Prowse. He was a nice guy. I met him. And James L. Jones was the voice. But exactly. But he used to come to a cinema I used to work in. But when it came to actually taking his mask off, they got Sebastian Shaw, who was an incredibly good stage actor, to do the actual body bit.
And a good job he did.
He did. Considering he only had sort of like 5 lines and then died.
And now he's been erased from history thanks to
and now
revisionists.
It's a fucking Hayden Christensen. I'm sorry for swearing, guys, and everybody in the chat, but there's nothing like taking something that's really good and shitting all over it. And what hurts most is when the creator of said IP himself goes and takes a massive shit on his own creation and says, right, that's it. That's how it should be. No, it's not.
Mm-hmm. He still refers to them as laser swords. Do you know that? George Lucas always called them laser swords.
He might have $50 billion, but that doesn't stop him being a complete twat.
No, it's like Da Vinci drew eyebrows on the Mona Lisa.
Or drew a muff on her.
Yeah, or a moustache. Just leave it alone. It's fine as it is.
Just reminds me of that scene in Ghostbusters 2 whenever Pete goes over there with a brush and he's like, oh, he's just lonely. Let's draw him a little kitty right here in the castle, by the castle.
Drew Gordon says in the chat, Rogue Trooper is scheduled to be released in theatres this year. Well, that's interesting.
Yes. I think he mentioned it was going to be an anime.
Oh, God. I thought this was going to be a live action job.
So, you don't think you can defeat me?
Oh, mind you, it would have been too much of an ask, wouldn't it, for somebody in the creative industry of filmmaking to replicate what would be New Earth.
And on that bombshell,
I kind of killed it, didn't I? Talking about 2000 AD. Who knew?
Save that for another stream.
I will do. And on that note, final thoughts, anybody? Jill, are you in a position to be able to talk now?
Yes, I am. I can't actually. It's really hard to imagine having seen it just for the first time today, and I always look at things through the lens of Star Trek. And, well, as I said before, I love this for being the antithesis to Star Trek. Great science fiction shows us a possible future, and Star Trek's a utopia. This one is more of a dystopia, but everybody in it thinks it's a utopia because of that wonderful propaganda that tells them everything is great. And everything's awesome. Teamwork.
Like I say, once you've been brought up and indoctrinated from a very young age to believe that's what's normalised, then you accept it as it is because you think that is the norm. And people have tried to do that for countless generations with a lot of things. And I think that's why Ed Neumeyer focused on that, because that's the irony of living these days. You're being force-fed a narrative.
Exactly. It's a polar opposite to Arena in specific because it's full of communication, understanding, respect for life, and this is a way they never try to talk to the bugs. Neil Patrick Harris says it's afraid, but he's not sitting there having a conversation with it.
Yeah, I thought it were going to get bummed. Sorry.
No, it might have been squirming a bit more if it knew that was coming.
Yeah, definitely. Further to what Drew was saying, it's going to be this is about Rogue Trooper, by the way. It's going to be a state-of-the-art AI anime with live-action capture. There's a long cast list, and they did principal photography already.
Wow.
I am definitely impressed by that.
AI anime, so that means they're going to have 6 fingers and sink through the floor occasionally.
And there's going to be
Correct.
that scene where Rogue's eating spaghetti.
And the eyes will always be lopsided.
Drew Gordon says again, Duncan Jones, David Bowie's son, dad rather. What can I? You can tell I'm tired. Did the Warcraft movie? Remember? That's what Rogue Troopers movie is going to be like, but in space.
In space.
In space.
In space.
I think I fell asleep through the Warcraft movie.
I thought you said you fell asleep during this fucking live stream. Thanks. Cheers.
You're
Them
fine.
sausages
This
don't
was
look
fun.
very orky in that Warcraft movie.
Thank you for joining me on Monday Night Mayhem in association with self-administering anesthetic. Thank you to Graham for trying it out for us this evening. Great contribution to the show, as always. Has everybody had enough? Because I am tatered, to be fair.
No, Tater's already gone.
No, it's all right. Local dialect and all. Jill, thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been a pleasure, and I had a great time providing my part, and I also have a channel. If this is my moment for that,
Go on. If
Same
you
as
want.
my name. Same as my name, and I like to talk about science fiction and fantasy and lots of other stuff on Tuesdays and Fridays at 11 a.m. Central.
There you go. The more you know. Would you like to know more? Go and check out her YouTube channel. You're also on X as well, aren't you, Jill, if you want to give yourself a plug for that?
Oh, sure. Anti-derivative 1.
There you go.
Anti-derivative Jill was too long for the X.
Tony, feel free
yes.
to give yourself a pluggage. Have you enjoyed tonight, sir? Because it's been an absolute blast having you on.
Excellent. Now, don't panic. The song that I am about to play and the performance that I am about to put on is how I plug, because I feel like doing a commercial should be exactly that. So without further ado,
will I lose my shit?
No, you won't.
Okay.
Possibly. I don't know. Let's just give it
the old college try, shall we? Coming up on the Tony Stark Stock of Iron channel is the following productions. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be having a game show in approximately 40 minutes. We had to put this back not once, not twice, but 3 times. That's right, because this show was just too damn fun. But also, we're going to be having a multitude of different programs coming up later on throughout the week at the Stock of Iron channel, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, the Stock of Iron channel. Do you like variety? Do you like punditry? Do you like impersonations, parody songs, and more? Then you'll be able to find yourself happily sated at the Stock of Iron YouTube channel. Also, I do a lot of away games at multiple venues across the greatest sphere of the YouTube community. This advertisement was brought to you by the fine folks at Great Hortus Cigarettes, the Nuka-Cola Corporation, and Iodine Toothpaste, because we're going to ruin your first 2 products with your smile. I totally flub it there. Isn't that funny, ladies and gentlemen? You can at least bring it home with a tube of unmitigated bleach and fluoride. Thank you, Trev Retro, for having me on as your honored guest, and I hope that I will be back real soon.
Oh, dear. I just said in the chat, fucking shoot me. Do you like Has Been Hotel by any chance, Tony?
Well, I do have a Radio Demon character impersonation that I
Yeah, it's very Alistair. I quite like that.
Why, thank you, my good fellow. It's a pleasure to be here. In fact, I'll go ahead and I'll just do a quick room change. 1 tickety-tickety-2. 1 second here.
I like it. Z. hey, there we go. We've got Alison from Has Been Hotel.
Why, hello! It's a pleasure to be here. I didn't think I was going to be awakened at this particular hour of the evening. I know it's got to be late there for you.
Oh, dear. Thank you. Help desk. Help me.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on. I stream with Trev because that's what I do. I'm also going to be doing some streaming with Tater, an oldest gamer. We're going to be playing some Sea of Thieves on his channel. So go find Potato Revan and join us for Sea of Thieves at 1 o'clock in the morning UK time.
There we go.
Back to you, Trev.
Yes, Tom, my bollock is slightly bruised. I'll tell you more about it tomorrow. I like this. Brian says, hurry up, Tony. I've got work in the morning.
I can't help it. See, I'm the kind of person that also runs commercials for a lot of other creators. So, Trev, if you get a commercial that you would like for me to run during your commercial blocks, this isn't just, a soapbox moment, but I honestly feel like when everybody's like winding down and they're tired, they're like, hey, what do you got coming up? I got this thing at I'm doing this thing at 9. I'm doing this thing at 9 o'clock, and then check out this video I'm about ready to drop, and no. Put some pep in the step because the chat's already leaving.
Yeah, true. Z, thank you for joining us, sir. Has it been a worthwhile experience? Would you like to know more?
It absolutely has. Got a great film, age-old story. Boy loves girl, girl dumps boy, boy shags his mate, mate dies, love rival gets his brain sucked out by a brain bug. How many times have we heard that one?
Classic tale.
But I'd like to thank the panel for having me on this evening, and the chat, and all of you listening on the rerub. And remember, for one of you, I'm outside your house right now, watching you on infrared. And
you got the Matron moment as well. I was quite impressed with that.
I can't wait to do Face Off. I love that movie.
Atom Gray says, for the price of a pot noodle, still going on about pot noodles, I can't believe it. It's the in-joke that keeps on giving. He says you can help Trev receive the physical therapy his bruised bollock needs. Thank you. Thank you, you're all so fucking caring. Jesus. Right, that's your lot for this week. On Friday, we'll be doing Fubar Friday. No particular topic. We'll see what the world of pop culture throws at us between now and Friday. And it's going to be tangents aplenty. So if anybody would like to join me for that, you can get in touch with me over on X. And if you were one of the unlucky souls who've subscribed to the channel en masse during the week, thank you ever so much. I'm sorry, you won't get that time back. But I will try and provide some worthy entertainment. And there's more of the same next Monday. I did say we're going to make the announcement about what was happening with the future of Monday Night Mayhem, but there are big changes afoot. We're working on things. We're silently trying to tune things up and make things even better, right? Just for you, nobody else. Thank you for joining me all tonight. Take care and like and subscribe as always. And please do leave a comment. I love reading your comments and I love